Welcome. This is the eMpTy podcast. Myself, Mr. Wiley Cat DJ, aka the voice of reason. And to my right, we have
Rain_Nelson_445.
And on my left, we have
Buddy in the building, aka the truth.
And on my right, we have
Citrus City. I don't know why I'm laughing. Citrus City. Yeah. That's what you're getting today. Just nice and...
Wow. Professional today, yeah?
Yeah, we got royalty in
Professional
the building.
settings. Because we have royalty legends in the building. You know, we use the word legends and royalty and all that. We use it a lot. We fling out that word legend a lot. We always do. We'll say legendary actress, legendary singer, legendary everything when someone's really doing good. However, we are blessed to have a legend in the building. Yeah. So across from me, we have...
Llewella Gideon, actress, writer, pain in the butt. You name it, I can do it. In that
order, right?
Yeah.
All right, no problem.
So, Llewella, we're old enough to know a lot about your history, and we are very old, as you can see from some of the greys and all them things there.
It's not matching this grey, so, However, you're still a pop.
Mine's not on purpose. I dyed mine grey.
Yeah, listen, I dyed mine black and it still come through grey. But for those who may be young enough not to know who Llewella Gideon is, for those who may be young that don't know, who is Llewella Gideon?
Llewella Gideon was a little girl from South East London, grew up in Peckham, always wanted to be an actress, and was fortunate enough to get that opportunity when I was 21 and do a groundbreaking show called The Real McCoy, which was the first ever all-black comedy sketch show on British television, which ran for 5-6 seasons. And from then on, I've been able to keep working, keep making people laugh, cry, and everything in between ever since. So I've been blessed enough to be able to continue a career in my chosen field.
Brilliant.
As a basic introduction, thank you very much. However, something we need to do for housekeeping purposes is, can you look into the camera and please share your socials and where we could find you?
Okay, so I'm under The Real Llewella Gideon on Instagram, which is that's mainly where I live. I'm trying to get into the TikTok thing, but I don't know all the dances and but I'm trying. And I have a podcast with another friend of mine called Maxi J, which is Bite Size and Baby Steps, which is all about well-being, mental health, losing weight, but tongue in cheek, because we all fail at that. What else? Facebook's dead. Yeah. So I just automatically let the Instagram post go over to Facebook.
Okay, fair enough.
So everybody, because some don't have it, so I share the love, But I think that's it.
As you mentioned the podcast, what's the app of the podcast?
At Bite Size and Baby Steps.
So at Bite Size and Baby Steps. Okay.
On Spotify, Apple Podcast. But we've taken a bit of a break at the moment because life was life-in. But we've had some wonderful guests. Our first guest was Colin Jackson.
Wow.
We really had a good chat with him. And it's one of those things where...
Sorry to cut you, but when you got friends?
No.
I'm starting a podcast. Who's your first guest?
Colin Jackson.
The little jealousy's coming in there.
Yes.
Not you coming green like your T-shirt. Okay.
All right then.
We're trying to hide it.
Little friend, Colin Jackson.
So who's your second guest?
Michael Jackson?
Would have, But I couldn't be bothered to dig him up, Jo Martin. If you don't know Jo Martin, she is the first ever black Doctor Who. She's the original. Yeah. Funny enough, they call her the original Doctor.
Jeez.
Yeah, you get it? Check it on a deeper level still.
Yeah.
She's the original Doctor, and she's my girl. She was in The Real McCoy. She's also in Marlowe Mystery Murders, and you know what I mean? She's just doing things. So we had her. We had Helen Lederer, who was the batty crazy lady in Ab Fab, and she also does a thing about female comedy writers, which I'm also on the panel of judges for. Who else have we had?
Wow.
I'm trying to build it up as a safe space for people of note to just come and hang out, because we just chat and we keep it real, and it's just me just being me. But again, it's also difficult 'Cause, you send out emails and then nobody responds. So we were really blessed.
Don't we know it?
Yeah, so we were
We tried
blessed.
to get this woman Llewella on, but it was
Yeah,
took
I heard about that.
ages.
Yeah,
Ages.
and she came and it took ages for her
She
to
was late
get
though,
here.
but I'm not here to judge.
Yeah, I
You
heard
know?
she was in South London and she had to come to
It's a
some behind God's
island.
back place, They didn't say North London, they just said behind God's back, yeah. So she was driving for a long time. Yes, I heard about
Fair
that.
enough.
So yeah, I try my best to get people that have something to say or people that I can have a real laugh with. And I'm not as well set up as you guys because you got your own place. I'd be in my front room with the Zoom. But yeah, it's a good thing to do and I want to do more of it.
What was your inspiration to start the podcast?
Basically, because I'm rather fluffy and have been fluffy all my life, and as you get older and the image of what a woman should look like and being attractive and then also being in this industry, mental health, feeling lonely, feeling like I just wanted to know, does anybody else feel like me? And basically to let people know them mad thoughts you're having, you're not alone. And basically pierce the veil of what society tells people in the media they should look like, feel like, or have people looking up to things that are not really real, and basically just saying, let's just keep it real. This is how I feel, and not in a contrived way. I'm telling you, it's really sort of like you guys just out there, I talk about things, no holds bar, but it's always with a laugh so that people can see themselves and say, it's okay. If she's mad, if she can do it, if she's done it, she knows how it feels, then we're all okay. And we're okay not to be okay as well.
I like that.
Most importantly.
So, jumping back the decades, because we're going to go back to your history.
Okay.
So, one of the things that I didn't realise was that the real start wasn't the Real McCoy, it was 291 Club.
Well, yeah, because what happened was, got on my knees, said a prayer, said, Lord, please let me do this. Please, just give me a year, 1 year. Because I thought like back in the day, being an actress meant being poor, struggling. And, it's not like today. You know what I mean? People are famous for being famous for doing nothing.
TikTok.
You know what I mean? So back then you really had to work and you also had to be chosen, whereas now performers have autonomy. They can just put themselves out there. But as an actor back in the 80s, you had to learn your craft. You had to audition. You had to be chosen. And I just wanted a chance. So I was just like, Lord, just give me 1 year. I'll eat cold baked beans like all actors do. And I'll wear a holy secondhand jumper. I'll do the whole actors thing. And then there was a show written by Trish Cook, who now is a very renowned author of children's books for children of colour. Right. She had done a play called Running Dream, and it was at the Albany Empire where 291 Club, Comedy Club was happening, and the 80s was a big time for black comedy. That was where I just wish it still was, it was a real vibe. And there was a play there and I auditioned, I got it, and I met up with a lady called Colette Johnson who was working on the production side. She was a Bajan, and my dad was Bajan, so we used to riff and just have jokes and things. And then there was a gap in the schedule, and we said, why don't we put on a 2-woman show and just talk about our thing? So we just created these characters. We had Delra and Winston, where we played 2 black men with their leather hats, and we had these gold brass plates that your mother would have hang up in the wall. We had them as necklaces. And we would like just doing the whole man thing. We had Tina and Tracy. They were 2 white girls that went out with black men. So we did a whole sketch about them. And then we had Neville and Mrs. Henry, who were 2 old age Bajan pensioners who sit down and talk. And we did the show for 3 weeks. It was a sellout. And then we got asked to do the 291 Club. And then we were like, what the heck? They think we're a double act. We actually did a theatre show, but because the characters were so funny and so real, they were like, come and do the 291 Club. And we were scared because we were like, they're going to boo us. And if they come on, that audience was just like ruthless. So we're like, well, we'll just call ourselves what the name of the show was, which was Short, Sharp and Shocking, because we're both sharp and we could be shocking. So we called ourselves that. And then we said, well, we'll just take clips, take a section of our show and just do one of the characters. And we did that. And we survived. Then they asked us again and we said, no, we don't want to push our luck. But we did it again. And then that's when we got the call from the producers of the Real McCoy.
So how old was you when you was doing the stuff before the Real McCoy? Because I'm thinking at 21, that's a young age to be in that sort of a field, going into that sort of environment.
I was really blessed. We were really blessed because I think I'd done the show. We'd done the theatre show, Running Dream, maybe 19... It was only about a year. It was only a year between coming on stage to getting
National
picked up
TV.
to getting national TV. So that was like...
No one would believe that, right?
No.
And I'd never done television before in my life.
Wow.
So we just done the show, say April, and then by the end of that year, people were asking us to do gigs. Like we went and did some gig in some club in Luton, which basically looked like somebody's house. You know what I mean? And it was like people just standing around like, make us laugh now. And it was really, really difficult. So we said, we don't want to do that. We're actors. So we did that. And then we got asked to do the 291 and like, no, they're going to kill us because we're actors. We just do characters. And I think by the next year, we were picked up.
So was you, first of all, initially an actress or was it comedy?
It's really difficult because I consider myself an actor. When I was in my little bedroom on the Gloucester Grove estate in Peckham with the towel on my head, pretending I was doing interviews just like this at 7 and 8 years old, I wanted to be an actor. And like I said, in the 80s and them times, 70s, 80s, to be an actor meant doing Shakespeare. Meant being classical, because there wasn't yet a black comedy scene or a black industry as yet. I mean, we had the things coming up like Empire Road and this odd things here, but they were just so far and few between that to be an actor, you were automatically thinking about the white route, the Caucasian pathway into acting, which meant being classically trained, going to drama school and doing Shakespeare and doing the classics, and we never done none of that.
But let's just be real. At that time, and you know, I was born in the 70s, so I was watching TV in the mid to late 80s, as you get it.
Yes.
One thing I wanted to touch on, which you mentioned, which I think is very important, especially for the younger ones now, is when you turn the TV on, like we can go around the room and name probably 2 actors or actresses or TV presenters that were black. Because when they came on TV, my mum was like, look.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because it was important. Like one of us are on, like whatever they're doing is
It
good.
was excitement. People
we're
think it's
interested.
a joke when people say, oh, there's a black person on the telly. They think that that's a joke. It was the truth.
And it was a phone. Sometimes you got a phone call. Someone phoned. Oh, there's a black person on the telly.
Turn over the TV, and it was an event.
No, I agree with that. I mean, I think of EastEnders and things like that. They had the little black family, and that was they're like, oh, that's the black family. And then there was obviously Desmond's, and then there was there's little things that you'd kind of.
That was
like,
the change. Yeah. That was the beginning of the change.
I think that's when exactly
before that.
I'm later.
Before that.
Yeah, because before that, what inspired me to become an actor was Bugsy Malone.
Oh, right.
Because I was young like them, and I saw children of all races doing a flim, not a flim, doing a flim, acting like grown-ups, and I saw black characters, and I was like, oh, it's possible. I had a dream. But when I saw that, it was possible. And seeing Brinsley Ford on Get On Board, double deckers, he did a program in the summer holidays, like crafts and stuff. I saw him. So that made me believe it was possible, but the route to get there was impossible.
Yeah, I still don't understand how it works.
But, so, I mean, sorry, please.
So let's get real. So I'm from a single parent family. So back in the 70s and the 80s, there was still a stigma attached to that. But you used to go to a little Saturday dance class. I do my tap dancing. But all the white girls, they were all prepped for this. And so at the time, the biggest stage school for kids, where most of the Bugsy Malone lot came from, was Italia Conti. Down in, it was just off Stockwell, going up there. And if you wanted to be an actor, all the kids went there. We couldn't afford that, but they did a Saturday class. So I used to go there for a little bit until mum couldn't afford it. So a lot of my peers, we had drama groups in the community. That, you know, they look like Curtis and I think maybe Robbie and some of the older guys, they went to Dick Shepherd. They had a drama school, you know, drama club. Down on the North Peckham estate and Gloucester, where I grew up, we had Pat Kiesel, who used to do a program called Vision On. You wouldn't remember. Tony Hart was a white arts and crafts, Morph with the little plasticine guy. Morph. But there used to be a lady that used to come along and do mime.
Yes.
Her name was Pat Kiesel, and she used to come down to Peckham every Friday and teach this group of rowdy people, kids, drama. Wow. And I hope Marianne don't mind me saying, but myself and Marianne Jean-Baptiste, who is obviously Soups, we grew up together and we used to go to this little club and learn the skills. We learned improvisation. We learned about character. We learned mime. So by the time you get to like teenager and you're thinking, I really want to do that, you've got two routes. You've got drama college or whatever. Marianne was fortunate enough, she knew she had a route. She went drama college. I'm a single parent, couldn't afford any of that. And mum was always, when you're going to get a proper job? That's foolishness. There was no concept of making a living from this acting foolishness. There's no concept of it. So I did that, and I did the Black Theatre Co-op, which was big at the time. They were doing so much theatre by black writers and black classics. It was a whole vibe. It was a whole scene. I went there for a little while, and then I went and got a proper job. And I worked for the police. That lasted about a year.
So I'd like to just dress back.
But have I answered the question?
Yeah, certainly.
Yes,
certainly.
But I want to dress back just to reiterate the point I made, because I think I need you to understand. And this is what makes this special for me. I don't care about this right now. This is for me. And I've got to be honest. So when I said growing up, I remember there was only 3 channels, then Channel 4 came along.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? So then you got 4 channels, and there were no black people on TV. No. And this is why I asked the question, gents, and I don't want to flames anyone up, but so you've mentioned a couple of names, but I'm thinking of, I think his name was Benny, and he used to be
Grange
in
Hill. There was a character called Benny.
The mixed race guy.
Yeah, in Grange Hill.
Yes, Terry
Supat, who's I don't think he's not with us any longer.
No,
that was the other one.
And I remember like,
black people,
look, there's a black person there, and then following, and I've mentioned her name before, but then switching over, or not switching over, like getting ready in the morning to go to school, and Rusty Lee is now making some, like doing that big
Good Morning Britain.
Good Morning Britain. She's doing some cooking something. I'm just like, Mum's like, you got to be in school in 6 minutes. Mum, I can make him free. Do you know what I mean? I'm just going to watch this part and then move on. So I'd like to open it up to everyone to say, who do you remember?
Can I just interject?
Of course you can.
I'd go
please.
even further than that. Growing up, my first black imagery on television was Llewella Benjamin doing Play School.
That's all the man
His question was going to be
Llewella
Benjamin. That's the one. So that would have been the first one that you saw on a regular. To say,
do you know what, Rain? It's called an MT podcast, but we can just delete the name and just.
We'll just call it.
You know what I mean?
No, we like the interruptions though.
But we like it. No, so basically, I was opening up the floor that I think we should all name 2. Do you know what I mean? I'm going to start with you, Rain. Because
I was gonna.
You can't.
I can. No, because I knew your question was coming, so I foresaw it, and I had Llewella. Yes. And on the flip side, I did have, and I don't know if it's that far back. Obviously, being younger, you didn't get an opportunity to watch the news. But my parents, more my dad, was very politically aware. Yeah. So when Trevor McDonald and Moira Stewart were on the TV, like I had to sit down and watch it. And it wasn't necessarily for the news. His thing was professionalism. You've got these people on the TV. Not that they've changed their accent. He said, you have to understand, when you come to somewhere different, you have to be able to adapt. And that was his thing. It was always about adapting to a situation. Now, he's not saying that Trevor McDonald and Moira weren't Jamaican or Bayesian or whatever, wherever they come from when they're at home, but to get that position, to be on the TV, reading the news,
fronting the news,
with all of the racism that was happening, and let's be frank, them times, racism was, and I remember there was actually, we'll come back to that in regards to yourself, but yeah, look, so much racism, and they were fronting it. And don't think that they weren't getting racism in
where they are, in their establishment.
Yeah, exactly. Absolutely. So yeah, those three for me.
Why?
Mine was Llewella Benjamin. It was definitely Llewella Benjamin. But there was a black guy. I remember he was on You Bet. Lenny. I'm gonna try and find his name. Lenny something. I remember him as
Henry.
No, not Lenny Henry.
No.
Not Lenny Henry. He weren't Lenny Henry. It weren't Lenny Henry. It was a guy on You Bet, and I'm gonna find his name. Because he was on children's programs. And I remember him from there. Then I saw him on You Bet. And I'm going to find his name. That's the guy that if I'm not...
So if they did it on location You Bet, he was
him.
hosting that segment.
No, he was on You Bet. He was
it a prank show? I remember the name.
You Bet was Matthew Kelly hosted it. And there was a couple regular people. But this black guy, tall black guy, I remember him being on there, but he was actually a children's program's host. I'm gonna find his name.
So we're gonna start all that. So I'm gonna come over to you, bud.
If you was to stay away from sports, and I would have said sports, obviously I'd said John Barnes. But staying away from sports, I would definitely say Andy Peters was one. I'm a bit later than these guys. I'm younger than them. So Andy Peters, definitely saw him a lot on TV. And obviously you said Trevor McDonald, so I won't go there. I'd probably say Lenny Henry was another one that I saw on TV and was like, you know what, there was a lot of them that I kind of gravitated towards.
Because at that point, I'm thinking he would have had the Lenny Henry show on, that was on the BBC, right?
Yeah. But I remember him from Opportunity Knocks.
Opportunity Knocks,
I'm showing my age.
Don't worry.
But so, I know you've already spoken, but I'd like you to name two more, if you can.
Well, again, you're saying keeping away from sports because we can name the brothers and the sisters in the sport. So let's talk about television and people that would appear and you'd know them, and that would definitely be Rudolph Walker.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Before anything, before Eastern, before any of that, he is foundation. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him. And Norman Beaton before Desmond's as well. These are legendary people that you'd look and you'd, I don't know, how does that sound? You feel safe. When you watch them, you know it's going to be good.
It's going to be good,
it's
right?
It's going to be good because they were craftsmen, you know, and that's the whole thing I'm talking about when nowadays you can just do a little something and be famous.
Right.
But like I said, the route into the industry back then was, you know, we always talk about being twice as good and all that lot, but you had to know what you were doing, and these guys were able to do that because they did Shakespeare. They had the capacity and the skill to do that as well. So they were just as good.
To be fair, I don't necessarily know I wouldn't say it's definitely to be that good. Sometimes it was what you look like. And if you were a size 6 at these times, skinny, and you was pretty, the girls got on. If you was in good shape, or again skinny.
Are you saying now or when you were watching?
Back then.
I would disagree because I remember Joan Hooley. She was one of the first black actors in General Hospital, which was a program that our parents probably watched back in the day. And she told me she had the first on-screen interracial kiss on on British television and got hate mail. And so we're talking about late 60s, 70s. So I don't think, and then later on we had Empire Rose, and I can't remember the actress's name that was in it, but she was fluffy. I think you didn't have to be that like you had to be now, because now you've got colorism and now you've got Instagram and you have to look a certain way to be palatable.
Do you think it's worse now than it was then back then?
Yeah. Well, I didn't think about what I would look like physically. I just wanted to be an actor. Do you know what I mean? Whereas now, if I was coming into the game, it would be a whole different ball game, you know. And it's that whole thing of do you have a weave? Do you have your natural hair? Now we've got to the stage where black actresses can have natural hair. But you see me, my first EastEnders appearance, I got a weave that does look like a wedge. Because we thought that's what we were, you know, you try to make yourself look away.
So I'm gonna say a word. And hopefully the story comes. Grease paint.
Yeah.
What happened with that?
No, is that how it works, yeah?
That's all I can give it. Well, there's 2 occasions. I think when we first started the Real McCoy, they were trying to go down that route, but they got sent on a fashion fair course, so they really, and they embraced it and they loved it. They were so up for the challenge because they didn't realize black people came in so many different shades and that our skin could absorb so many different colors. So they were great. But I did my first film after the Real McCoy. It was a sketch show I did, and they came out with a tin. It was a tin of grease paint that you put on clowns.
Ross.
And they really did open it up and take their little brush and take this little greasy thing
What, and then wipe it?
and put it on my face as foundation.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this was the makeup department.
The makeup.
They had no idea what they were doing. And what it is
How
my
to do
dad
those
told
colours.
me about this.
Yeah.
And I said, you're talking rubbish. And he said, ask her. He said, ask her. So I just said the word. And imagine that. So then...
the kiss of the teeth.
It
and
was,
everything.
it was a tin. I remember the tin and looking at it thinking, what?
Did you put it on?
Dude, listen, I'm 22, 23 years old.
Yep.
I'm first time in the game, having an opportunity that I know. I thought they'd be ready for us.
No, not ready.
But it's only when you got into the game you realise that they weren't ready for us. But, you know, I'm a young black British. So I'm thinking all the opportunities and everything's going to be there. You know, it's not till I would do the first season of like the Real McCoy. And I remember she was lovely. They had to learn. We had to teach them. And she said, the costume lady, oh, no, darling, you can't wear that. I said, why? Black people don't wear black. Them kind of things. And you had to say, really?
What do they want to put you in? I know.
Tiger skin, leopard skin. And to this day, whenever I do a film and it's a character, I tell them I'm not doing leopard print, tiger print, any kind of print.
No, you know, my man.
Everything they wanted to put me in to look exotic.
That's the thing, innit?
Was an animal print,
word.
like I just come out of Tarzan, you know?
Yeah, the word.
It was horrendous. It was horrendous. I just kept saying, no, we're normal people. Oh, but it adds a bit more colour. No, I didn't just come out the jungle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I not just wear that black? No, but black people don't really wear black, do they? It's not exciting. So yeah, they had to go on a learning curve, which again, the production people in terms of costume and makeup, they fully embraced it because they'd never had a show like this. They never get to dress two girls like ragga girls. So they had the most excitement going down to Shepherd's Bush Market and buying all them things. And, so that's good. But on the whole, outside of that, it was grease paint and leopard skin. And you don't know better. So you think that you feel uncomfortable.
But you do it anyway.
But you didn't know what the alternative was.
But this is the thing. So we spoke to Terry Walker yesterday, the singer, and she gave us kind of the same example. Like there's some things that I don't say she regretted, but they had one of her songs. They had her on a horse, and her mum was saying, "Why are you on a horse for?" But she was saying, like, "I'm young." I think she said she was 21 or 19 or whatever it was, and all she wanted to do was sing. So I'm assuming for you. Right, I'm going to be on TV. All I want to do is make people laugh and for want of a better phrase, I want to bust in the industry. So you're thinking, right, I just got to do what they say until you start to learn and know better? No,
because intrinsically in your heart, you know something's not right.
Right, okay.
So I look at the grease paint and I'm thinking, but then again, I'm not big on, I know that there's fashion fair, but I'm not quite sure what other alternatives there are and whether that has filtered down into the industry because again, they're not used to working with darker shades of skin. But I'm looking at the grease paint thinking, that can't be right. But I'm going to trust them because they're makeup artists. So they'll have to make it, they're making it work as they mix the colours.
It's interesting.
Yeah, so, and what I like about this podcast is you can be on one road and end up in a mountain, Ilan Gully. No, but it's great because the more you're sharing, the more we're learning. Yeah. Do you get what I mean? Yeah. And that's what's important. But the reason why I asked the questions about who we saw on TV is I need you to understand we saw you on TV. You know?
That was coming in.
And this is me just trying to be as honest with you as I can. Like the Real McCoy is on TV at what time?
Jeez.
Do you know what? Everything else is done. Mum knows the house is clean, dishes washed, food season for tomorrow, homework's done. I'm sitting down with my cup of we had the Horlicks and we was only allowed 2 biscuits, no more. Take 3 licks. So just 2 biscuits and the Real McCoy is coming on. So you just have to be ready for when it comes on. It was like, and I know it sounds crazy. I don't ever remember the house phone ringing. I don't remember any interactions.
For what?
We were just fixed on this because you had to watch it and you had to learn every joke. You had to understand it. If you were rich enough, you recorded it.
Yeah,
and you could watch it back. I wasn't that rich. So I had to have a good memory because tomorrow morning in school,
talk about it.
Everyone's
that's
talking
the
about
only
it.
thing they're talking about. And to have you sitting in touching distance here and hear you talk about your struggles and you were 21, to me, I was 9 and 10. You must have been 38 to 52 because in my head, I didn't have the scale. I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
So to hear you share this now, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, this is what you went through. But as you're going through that, he's too young, but I can definitely speak for these 2 old foot that they were doing what I was doing, where it's just like, okay, we have to lock in, we have to understand this because tomorrow in the playground, I'm going to bust all the jokes like I know what's going on. Even though I'm teething every line that you've dropped, I don't care, it's mine. Because if you never watched it, what do you mean? No, I made that up. You know, Wiley.
So the question I wanted to ask, because the Real McCoy, you mentioned it earlier about the safe television, safe black people being on TV. From my memory, the Real McCoy was the first TV program that I was watching that it wasn't about being safe. It was about being people that I recognize, even
Controversial or not, innit?
even as the only Nigerian in the room, when Nathaniel came on, and I see Nathaniel come on, you know what? As much as I don't like it, I think he's too funny. It actually resonates with certain things that are happening. It was the first, I suppose, place that I saw real, and this doesn't sound right, but it's the only way I can explain it, real black people on TV. When you was there doing it, did you realise the impact of what you were doing and the change you were doing from the safe black TV that we was talking about earlier to now doing something completely out of the box that no one has ever seen before?
Right, so it's a big one. I sometimes get emotional when I meet people. Like yesterday, I was at the vigil for the Professor.
Yes,
we are going to come to
that. We're definitely going to come to that.
And meeting people that come up to me, like one lady yesterday said to me, you know, had to thank me for making her childhood bearable, and people saying that it got, as young kids, it got them through something. That really kind of makes me like, ugh, shakes me, because but I knew personally, I mean, all the different cast members will have their own take and their own perspective. And that's also what's quite interesting. Remember, I came in at 21, never having done a lick of television acting in my life. Some of the people that I was meeting on the show had already had television careers. So I was coming in wet behind the ears, full of wonder and just wanting to be good. Wanting to be good. I wanted to be good at my craft. But I knew that the opportunity, and I think we all did, the opportunity that we'd been given was weighted, because again, we didn't want to do anything that was going to make us feel embarrassed or there's certain people that did certain sketches that you went in the playground and you had to beat a man up for. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? Come and tell you about, kadanga, get out of here. Do you know what I mean? So there's certain things that we knew that we wanted to be real about. And I think everybody kept saying, what's the show about? What's the show about? And it was comedy from a black perspective. And that's it. So when you see comedy through the lens of black people, it's a completely different vibe because we're telling the truth and finding the comedy in our own existence and our own situations, as well as there being broad comedy. Like some members of the cast just didn't want it to be just wanted to do funny for funny's sake. Right. Some members of the cast wanted it to have a meaning and a message. I was kind of straddling the two.
Yeah.
I was straddling the two because I kind of had the Sidney Poitier train of thought that I wanted to do stuff that my grandchildren wouldn't be ashamed of, and that my children's children could look back and say, that made a mark, that was something. So I was always conscious that I wanted to do things that I knew the community were gonna love. For me, that's my perspective. I'm doing certain sketches like the Miseries sketch in the takeaway. We had to argue. We had to argue with producers to get that filmed.
Really?
Because they didn't understand. Well, what's funny about that? And we had to say, look, trust us.
We know.
Trust us.
Even to this day.
They couldn't see the
Still
humour. They're very slow in the restaurant. They didn't get it. And we had to say, please, let us just do it. Trust us. And we did it, and the place nearly popped down.
When I have that.
Another one which was quite influential, and I don't know if it gets the respect that it should do, and it's very forward thinking. Hortense Pretentious.
Yeah.
Obviously it was a play on Margaret Thatcher-ish, Conservative Party. And it was, actually, describe where the character came from.
Right. Hortense Pretentious was born out of me watching some late night political program, late at night. And there was this black woman, I don't know, up to this day, I don't know who she was. But she was so spooky. That I was just like, huh? This was new. Again, this is new. Now is not, not even well-speaking people, but black people that speak with received pronunciation is not a thing. But back then, it was just like, why is she talking? Yeah. She was posher than the Queen, and it blew my mind. So I did a take on that where I took her and took my mother, who likes to mispronunciate words.
Yes. As in, it was
peninsulan instead of penicillin, and you have a dirty character. And cucumber. So I just took my experience and mashed it up with this lady who wants to be Margaret Thatcher and not quite there. And that's how I wrote that sketch on black aspirations to be middle class.
Do you think...
And can I just add... Sorry. I'm very, very proud to know that the Victoria and Albert Museum had a 5-year exhibition on comedy, and Hortense is in there.
Oh wow! Okay.
Under political comment, political commentary and stuff. So I'm pleased.
Petronella wasn't there.
Huh?
Petronella was not there.
I don't know. I didn't see the... I just know they called me and they said,
that was my favourite character, Petronella.
But Petronella wasn't Real McCoy. That was blouse and skirt and songs and sisters.
Yeah.
So,
I was going to ask a question. It's funny, we're talking about Real McCoy and he was talking about being in the playground. And I'm thinking to myself, was that really comedy for people of that age group at the time? Is it really comedy? Yeah. What age group was you actually
Well, there's no age group.
Towards?
I don't think there was an age group. It's about familiarity. And if it's from a black perspective, you're going to recognise your auntie. We did the two African aunties where they were trying to have one-upmanship. It was about from our point of view. So whether you're a child, you're going to find something that you recognise. Whether you're an adult, you're going to see something, because we'll do something like Leo wrote a sketch about You've Been Tangled, because at the time there was that advert with the orange man going around slapping that. And I mean, how clever is that to take that advert and put it on top of Rodney King being beaten by the LAPD?
Yeah.
I mean, everybody's going to get something. I can only speak for myself. I knew that the show was going to be so special to the community, and I personally felt a big weight of responsibility to get it right, to give them something that was for them, that resonated. It was just for them. So it was important. It was important.
Okay, that's lovely.
Excuse me. So that's now that element there, and that was a big part of our world.
Mm-hmm.
But then you then transitioned into another world. Absolutely fabulous.
Yeah, because...
So you went from one big ginormous thing in one community to then a whole national thing.
Well, you could say crossover.
Yes. But how was that?
Well, like I said, in the 80s, we had a black comedy scene that was great. But then we also had the, left-wing comics like Ben Elton and people like that were also doing political commentary in their stand-up. So a lot of the young white comedians and comics and people that were about at that time were actually watching the Real McCoy, because we were giving them a slice of something that they may talk about, but they can talk about it from their perspective in terms of policies. Like we did the carnival sketch where in the end we got the police saying, move along, and it's literally just two black people dancing, and that's carnival. They might say it in a different way, but we were saying it from our perspective. So what happened, I guess, Jennifer Saunders was a fan of the Real McCoy. And I just got a phone call, boom. She'd like you to be in Absolutely Fabulous. And at that time, again, that wasn't my world. I'd never seen it. I didn't know what it was about or whatever. But I'm like, hey, I'll do that. And like I've always said, it wasn't until doing Ab Fab with Jennifer that it really became clear how badly we were treated on the Real McCoy. When you see what other people are afforded to what we got, you think, oh, there's a difference. And also the other thing is that love Jennifer to the bone, because unlike some people that think that black funny people come out of the womb doing that, she absolutely recognised the craft. And there's a craft in timing. People aren't just funny, you know what I mean? You're forever thinking. It's filling the gap. It's dropping that punchline at just the right minute. It's work. And the fact that she recognised that I was working, and that to work to be that funny, and gave me that due respect, I felt like, she saw me as a comedy equal, not just as somebody that's just going to colour up the place. You know what I mean? And we got on like a house on fire. I did one episode, and then she just kept writing me in all these episodes to torment her. And in the end, it was just like, I didn't have a character. It just used to say Llewella in the script. You know what I mean? And I used to come back playing all these different jobs, but it was the same attitude.
It was like you was tormenting her. You was like her nemesis. You was like her nemesis.
I was her nemesis to the middle class.
Right. Oh, okay. It was a bigger thing. Okay.
Because who she is, and then you got somebody that's real. They're saying, "No, you're fucked." You know what I mean? That was her way. So these comics and comedic actors that were watching our show also had something to say, and I think maybe not without even knowing it, that character Jen allowed to poke fun at all that the white middle class seem as sacred. And then we just went on a whole big journey with that, So
you mentioned that that you realised the differences in how you were treated on the Real McCoy versus Absolutely Fabulous. Just for those of us who will be having no idea, what's an example of something you would have gone through? Okay,
so Real McCoy, sometimes we'd be told, we got a show, we did all our shows in front of a live audience, so much so that the critics used to say that we had canned laughter because they couldn't believe that the audience was going that wild, but it was real. But we'd get like a show's on Friday, we'd come in on Monday, and we get told, right, you got 3 sets, a kitchen, a front room, and maybe something else.
Oh, just got to make it work.
Write a show.
Wow.
And we used to have to go away and try and write sketches and things.
In what time?
For filming on Friday.
Really?
Jeez.
And I remember, I can't remember what song I'd written, but we were literally the night before in the studio till 4 o'clock in the morning trying to record and get this song down. So there was a period of time where there was no respect for what we were bringing to the table, and obviously the care that we had to take. We like 3 sets, right? Show Friday we're recording, and I definitely remember that. And you know, working with Jen, same way like how you greeted me when she introduced me to the audience, and I think we'd only done like 2 series, not much, but she was doing that. She was doing that to me in front of a white audience who didn't know me from Adam. So that recognition was a lot. And in her rehearsal, I mean, we had a kettle, some tea and coffee, and a tin of biscuit.
Or 3 biscuits.
Yeah.
Hey.
They would fight if you took all the biscuits and somebody wanted them. In her rehearsal room, there was a crate of Coke. There was a crate of Diet Coke. There was sandwiches at lunchtime. You know what I mean? There was a different set of treatment. In my dressing room when I arrived, there was flowers and champagne.
Jeez.
I'm like, oh.
Wow.
Oh.
Levels.
Levels.
This is how it should be.
And this is how I guess I probably dreamt it would be, but that was never forthcoming because we worked really hard on the Real McCoy and we're just like, do it.
So I want to jump in at this point, and thank you for sharing this. I think this is really important because, as I said, as a fan, you don't see any of this. Do you get what I mean? I'm just like, when's the next series? Because that's what I'm interested in. Do you know what I mean? Let me just be honest. That's all I'm interested in. Just keep being funny, and
sorry to burst the bubble.
And that's it. No. I mean, it's not that. So under this level of hardship that you're sharing now, to keep making me laugh, keep being popular in the playground on the next morning, do you know what I mean? Like literally hats off, because I think it's tremendous. There is before we do the migration to AbFab, one thing that I found really difficult is when the Real McCoy finished, and in my head I was like, there's all of these different energies. Like, I mean, I don't know the number, but I'm thinking there's probably over 20 different participants.
I think the core cast was about 8 or 9 of us. Yeah, we used to walk into the canteen when we first arrived, and it used to go quiet.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And
the BBC canteen. Chat.
And then all of a sudden,
there's black people. All you hear is clink, knife and fork.
I fight for dumpling.
You know what I mean?
But then any of you look walking in and say, "Where the dumpling there? Where the jerk?"
No, just went in there and made a whole heap of noise. All sat together on the table and just make noise. But initially, it was a shock for them. It was a shock to see us en masse.
And with that, so the question that I'm trying to lead up to is, and this was the research that we were doing. When I was reading through the names, I was like, oh wow, I didn't remember him on there or her on there and whatever else. But when I read the list, I was like, wow. And I remember when the Real McCoy was like, there's no more. I'm like, so what do they all do now?
Yeah.
And it felt like there was a sieve. And in that sieve was all of your names, and they were just filtering out the ones that fit and the ones that didn't fit. And then for a period, it was just like, where's everyone gone? You know, like we didn't see anything else. And I know Curtis and Ishmael had like a double act. I want to say a show. I don't know if it was ITV.
They had Paramount. They actually got so close because they ended up hosting a program. I think it was called Paramount City, which was on a different channel. It was kind of like a Sky channel or something channel. Like cable channel, and they were the host, and I think it was called Paramount City. So I mean, people were ripe for the picking, but again, if you're ticking boxes, you don't make an exit plan. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
We probably didn't, because we've probably thought this is going to run forever and naturally things will happen.
It should have run for longer.
The broadcasters obviously got sick of us, and and thought it was time to move on. And I remember, you know, I'm going to type it up, man. The last series that we were offered we were going to do, we were basically told, you take a 10% increase in your salary or you're out.
That was it.
And that was it. And for some people, 10% might have only equated to £100. And if you've been doing a series for 5-6 years,
with the numbers you were getting,
with the numbers we were getting, and we couldn't command more, and basically told you do it or you don't. And I remember we sat down, all of us, and said, what did we do? What do we do? Because, you know, bills have to pay. But I think our commitment to the community to give you guys one more was there. That's my personal take on it, because I remember we did have a meeting like, boy, this is what they're doing to us. What do we do? And we decided, no, whatever, we'll do it. And I think we did it. We did it for the community.
You did do one more run, didn't you?
We did. I just remember that we did the pilot in 1989. That was the pilot. And then I think I finished about 1995, 96. So it was about 5-6 series.
Right.
There is one other thing that I remember, and I don't know if this even makes any sense to you, but I remember, like, my mum used to get the Sun newspaper and used to scroll back to maybe page 12, 13, and used to have the TV listings, and it put the TVs in order, the programs in order of popularity. And I'd always check to see, is the Real McCoy on? All right, we're still in the 10.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? We might be 8 or 9, but that's fine. Corrie, EastEnders, 1 and 2 lockdown, Emmerdale, and all right, you lot can take that because we're not taking that bit. But as long as you were in there, I was 10. Like, all right, we're good, we're still good. And it used to come out on, like, I used to have my little highlight, I'd be like, all right, they're still there. If you're not there one week, I'm like, they're gonna cut. Mummy, look, Mummy, what's going on?
Yeah.
No, don't worry.
What are we going
to watch? You know, because outside of the Real McCoy, I want to say 8 or 8:30 on a.
Yeah, normally about 9. Between 9 and then they changed channels and it was 10. Yeah. Between 9 and 10.
But if it weren't the Real McCoy, 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock at night, it's the next time you're going to see a black person on TV. You know, and I have to wake up for school the next morning. So
you weren't allowed.
I weren't watching that. Do you get what I mean? I weren't seeing it. And this is what the cultural importance is from an adolescence at that point in time.
I think also what the beauty of the Real McCoy for me was that whole families would sit down together. It was none of this, you watch it in your bedroom. The whole family sit down and get jokes together.
Yeah.
And I always think, boy, if we were still, I know it sounds really weird, but I kind of think, God, if we were still going now, would there be as much knife crime?
That's a wicked question.
We'd be talking about things where we would make people look at themselves in a different way. And like you say, you'd run a joke where it doesn't make sense. Doesn't make sense what you're doing.
I like that.
But yeah, that was the beauty of it, that it was a whole family thing.
It kind of brings me onto a question, funny enough, that I was about to ask, and you said that. Is it why not, right, with the way that things are now, you could do something on YouTube, you could do something just to plug yourself and the guys, and you can create something yourself, because nowadays it's not necessarily the big networks that has to basically cover you lot. You could do it yourself. Yeah. Put yourselves out there, and all of a sudden people are looking forward to what's coming on now. What are you guys doing? Why not do that? Well,
I did a couple of years ago. My sister and I produced a show called The Real McCoy Reconnected, where we got all of the cast together and we literally used the format. It was literally The Real McCoy on stage, and I'm not just talking about standing up with a mic. There was sets, there was songs, there was costumes. We had the screen where we had the TV where we'd overdub, where, you know, Leo used to overdub the programs. So we literally took the whole format of the television show and literally put it on stage as if you were watching the Real McCoy live. So it has happened, and I think since then people have done their variations of trying to reconnect, you know, trying to revive it. But I think for me, I think our one was the best because special care needs to be taken. I think it had such a cultural impact that you can't just take that name and just do a little PR thing. You have to, people expect a certain quality and they expect a certain level. And that's what we did. We asked permission, we got permission to do it, and we went all out and produced it as if it was a television show, and it looked and felt like it was.
Where is that?
That we did that at Hackney Empire, and we did that at Lewisham. That was quite a while ago.
Nice.
I was very proud of that.
So look, and I know we're probably cutting it short, because I know the TV element of yourself, and we'll come back to it. But there was your stuff on Radio 4 in particular. So just talk to us about that, because that's not face. That is you being a writer, having to impact listeners, and it's very different, and it's from my point of view. And I was listening to LBC, it was James O'Brien, and he had this thing on where he was saying, right, how can you explain, or how can you make someone see a picture through just voice? And that's what you did quite well on your Radio 4 program. Just talk to us about that.
Right, so that was the Little Big, that's my sort of trademark, the Little Big Woman.
Yeah.
So, but that was born after about 2 series, 1993, so we would have been kind of like midway through the Real McCoy series. And like you say, we were, no acting, nothing else was coming. This was, for me, this was what I was doing, but I consider myself an actress. And maybe my road in has been comedy, because I've done a lot of that. But ideally, I'm an actress, and there was no roles coming. So I actually wrote a one-woman show called You Know Them Way There, which basically had like, just talking about just the female position. And then that progressed into the Little Big Woman, and I was doing whole one-woman shows. And at that time, I even remember Curtis saying, what, just you and yourself, just you, yourself. And people were doing shows, but they would have a warm-up person, and then they'd have some music in between. But my template were people like Victoria Wood, who could get up at the Royal Albert Hall, her one, and that whole audience for an hour telling stories. And what and so as an actor, I did a 2-hour show by myself, no fillers, all in character, costume set. And then we said, well, let's try and take it to TV, because the basis of the show was she was a black out of work actress, but she temps, which is what I was doing. I was temping all that time. I was temping, and it just follows her life as a temp as well. So she'd meet Amma, the Ghanaian lady in the canteen. That was a character, and her character was always bemoaning how her children are becoming too Western, because she said, I have a daughter, her name is Abna Konado Amankwa Apuku. She's wanting everyone to call her Mandy. What is this? There's no Mandy where I come from. So she was talking from that. Then you had Mrs. Henry, who was the Bajan toilet cleaner, talking about how it's the end of the world because, what was happening in politics. So I'd used that as a basis to talk about the black female experience in England. So we wanted to take it to television, and they told us, oh no, but if you do a show about an actress, you're sort of like piercing the veil. It wouldn't be popular. And why don't you do it on radio? So I then turned my one-woman show into a radio sitcom, which is very unique because at the end of each episode, I did a parody song. So it always ended on a parody song about that episode. And we did that for 3 years. We won awards and everything. But they wouldn't let me on TV until I proved myself on radio. So I had to adapt that. And it never got to TV. Eventually, I managed, after a couple of years, reworked it from a radio sitcom into a TV sitcom. And then we got what they call it, we got a thing where they could all come and see, and all the producers would come. And then they turned around and said, oh, I think we got something similar coming. And so it never went. And I don't think they did, because the only thing I saw after that was Famalam at the time. So, yeah.
And then, so that was the radio element. And I know we're skimming past because we're just thinking about time. And then you dabbled in children's TV.
Bob the Builder, innit?
Bob the Builder, one thing, but then there's the thing, I don't know if you wrote it. I can't remember the first name. Something in Gran Gran.
Jojo and Gran Gran. That's most recently, yeah.
Yes.
But like I said, we go just back to when Jennifer recognised me and put me on her platform, that opened the doors. That automatically opened the doors. I think at one point I was on Insta or Twitter at the time. I think I had 1,000 followers. She just had to say, follow this lady, she's funny. Next minute my phone was ping, 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 ping.
Right.
And I got thousands of followers. But then from working with her, then I worked with Dawn.
Yes,
I did work for Dawn, and then I worked with Lenny.
Yeah.
And then I did him, and then you start doing the rounds, and then you, I don't know, cross over. But it came from one person giving you that opportunity, and obviously hopefully being really good, that people said, yeah, we'll have her. And so the voiceover work, again, probably was an offshoot. Voiceover work. Oh, Jojo and Gran Gran I love, because it's St. Lucian and it's the first ever black family British animation ever. So again, that's a milestone. Big up to Lauren for doing that. So yeah, Bob the Builder came, and I'm now doing Zouk as an animation, which is the dragon. The dragon. That's just come out not too long ago.
Right, and so then for me, you're complete. And when I say complete, it's like you do the stuff which was the comedy clubs in the early days. You've done the sketch shows. You've done movies, which we will touch on. Movies that we will touch on, and then there's the element of you've obviously written bits and bobs, been on radio, and then the films. Like you've in some of the series. So we're talking about Small Axe. You was a part of.
I love that.
Have you got all? I can't remember everything.
There's a whole lot. Small Axe. There is
Queenie.
Before I go to sleep.
Queenie.
But I've got a bit of a bias.
Go on,
Mr. Loverman.
Yeah.
So my cousin was in Mr. Loverman.
Who was your cousin?
Arian Bakary.
Oh, I give him a hard time. I give him a warm time. Which part of Oxford Street? Oxford Street. Yes, that was totally improvised. But you're trying to take me on. This is the thing as well. Being a female in comedy, I found the men want to take me on. They just want to take me on. They can't help it. You know?
Even though.
Yeah. So I have to kind of give them a little...
But I wanted to touch on Mr. Loverman. Mr. Loverman was groundbreaking for a load of reasons. When it came out, there was a lot of discourse about it. But I was really proud to see the awards that it got for him, for Lenny as well. Yeah. The actual program was so groundbreaking and took a lot of work to get through. Going through the program when you was doing it, did you realise the impact it would have and how big it would actually be?
Oh yeah, now in the environment and the climate that we're in, you know, that is going to blow people's minds because they're not used to seeing black gay relationships and not black gay relationships within elders. So of course in the community, I know that's going to go pow. But also in the wider sense of society, the time was right for them to see something different, you know, and sadly, a lot of people didn't watch it because they thought they were homophobic and they thought it was going to be about that alone. But the beauty of it was about family.
Yeah.
The thing was so much bigger than that. You know, and it was about a whole family and each individual within that family and their life. And so I think people that didn't see it missed out on a whole thing that was just so much more than the content of that relationship. So I was proud to be part of that because I always wanted to work with Lenny James. He could have just told me go and stand in a dustbin, and I would have done it. I would have done it. That sold it for me. That's what sold it for me. Was working with Lenny.
And then the completion of, for me, being an actor, and I don't know if it was Patrick Stewart that said it. It was something about you have to be a complete actor. You have to do theatre, and you've been all over theatre.
Now I had to make before COVID because you know. What happens is you get caught in a trap where everyone just wants you to be the funny black woman.
Yes.
But the funny black woman isn't really a funny black woman. She's an angry black woman. So basically, they want you to play the black woman that's got an attitude, and they say, "Oh, but so she's really straight talking, but she's just really fun, but she doesn't take, no nonsense, but she's." And they'd be telling me that to do one scene where they just want me to be feisty and have an attitude, and so I've done it so many different ways till I got to a point. I said, "The change age. I'm not doing it anymore."
It's funny
because I want to be an actor. I want to show that I can do drama as well. So I had to put the kibosh on that. And the best way to really cut your chops is theatre, and that was my first love.
Right. Okay.
So I was fortunate enough to then start doing a lot of drama in theatre, like at Chichester. I did the Long Song.
That was when I was going to talk. You played what was it? So you narrated the story from the point of view of a Jamaican slave, was it?
Wicked. Powerful. So Andrea Levy,
she did the book.
She did the book, and they did the film, but this was the theatre thing, talking about slavery from a British involvement. We always see it from the American involvement. So this was about British slave owners that had gone to Jamaica and how those slaves then rebelled and left the plantation, and then the slave owners had to run off. But it was so powerful. It was really a fantastic piece. And I remember doing a Q&A in Chichester. Everyone knows that when you go to Chichester as a black actor, you're going to have some kind of something. But anyway, I didn't think they'd come and see it, but they all came out. The Blue Rinses came out. We had a Q&A. And one woman said, "Oh, it's fantastic, but I wanted to say, didn't you feel sorry for some of the slave owners because they lost a lot as well? So did you feel sorry about that as well? Because I felt so." Everybody was just like. Everybody was looking down the line. I was like, "Yeah, I got this."
How did you respond?
I said to her, "No. No. I don't feel sorry for people who constructed and perpetuated a system of human slavery and misery. The only people I feel sorry for are these poor white actors that have had to play that part. But I don't feel sorry for them because they didn't lose anything compared to what the slaves lost."
Something you said just there kind of triggered me a little bit. Do you then get casted with a character? So like you've been talking about, do people now just like, I see you, like you said, the white slave owner, like, well, now you're that's who you are, so I don't mess with you no more because you're...
In the beginning, because I played a lot of nurses, and a lot of people have been a bit narky about, I don't want to be the typical black nurse, and I used to think, you're having a go at me because I'm the only one that's playing a nurse. But I always say I played about 8 nurses, but every single nurse has been calculated. It's because I've either wanted to work with the producer, work with the writer, work with somebody who's in the cast, or it said something that I believed in. I've always believed that acting is a continual learning process. From the time you think, I'm an actor, I'm a big shot, I've got Netflix, and you stop being humble enough to learn, you're done. So every nurse I played is not because I'm a stereotyper or I'm a coconut and I just played a nurse. It's because it's been strategic and I've learned something from it. But I used to get cast till I had to say, no more nurses now. I've done it. I've worked with all the nurses that I want to work with. And then it was Angry Black Woman. And then I said, after doing small acts, I was like, no, I don't have to do that anymore because small acts encapsulated why the so-called Angry Black Woman exists. It gave the history of it. When they ask you to play that role, that character doesn't have a backstory. You just know she's feisty and she gives the people a hard time and she's got an attitude, and that's the comedy. But small acts gave the history of the struggle that made it complete. I don't have to do that. So now they're trying to get me in the granny mode, playing lots of grannies. I never played my age. I always get cast as somebody that's 70 or 80. But that's okay because it's drama and that's another string to my bow. But soon it'll be like, no more. I want to play the sexy lead.
Exactly.
That's the next
Tell
one.
them.
I want to play the older, sexy cougar. But yes, you do easily. It's lazy casting.
Yeah.
If you're good at what you do, they become lazy and they just give you more of the same. So you have to take a big risk to say, I'm not going to do that, and see whether the doors are still open.
It's funny that happened with Ribeiro, that's his real name, Carlton from Fresh Prince.
Yeah.
He kind of got casted because he was so good at Carlton. They couldn't get rid of it. He couldn't find another
couldn't
cast.
shake it off.
He couldn't shake it off.
If you stay too long in a position,
it's wild.
Yeah.
I'm going to hand over to Rain because Rain's got a segment called Rain's Roundup. I'll let Rain explain about Rain's Roundup.
Rain's Roundup is a selection of stories that are currently in the news, or it might be stuff that I've just seen in passing. I'm going to start with...
Stuff that's going to get me cancelled, yeah, if I'm honest.
Or get us cancelled. We're all in this together. I'm going to start with Jason Arday. And I know you was down at the vigil as were you, Wiley. And I had loads of questions in regards to, because you said to narrow it down, I had loads of questions. And I'm not sure if this is the right one, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Are the right-wing media to blame for his death? Oof. And I'll put it out there to anyone that wants to. I'm not going to push it on Llewella or anyone, whoever wants to go first.
Not just right-wing. It's white media.
White media, right.
White media that fails to recognise black existence and humanity as equal to theirs.
Yeah.
So it's not just right-wing, although that was a nice little... He started it. But then the question becomes bigger than that when people start saying, well, what made him qualified to have that role anyway? And you're not necessarily right-wing to say that. You just have to not want to see a black person in a prominent position who may or may not have made a mistake, and then you use that as fuel to say that all black people need to be, investigated to be able to hold that kind of prestigious position.
And the thing about it is that in the time, so there's I don't want to mention the name, but we will. When the story broke, it was by an ex-professor there, and I believe he didn't get the job, and Jason potentially got the job. But in the time that story came out, so to speak, there were, in a 2-week period, maybe even less, I think it was 10 days, there was over 100 articles written.
9 days, 188.
188
and it's
articles.
Since gone up to about 200 and something.
But again, I think the 188 were negative. I'm not sure if some of these ones are now positive. Like, again, I've seen people, and whether it be people in the media who have prominent positions, whether it be The Guardian, The Times, blah, blah, blah. You've got also places like Shadeborough who have done wrong by the guy. Obviously, their business is a bit more clicks, so we're just going to put out whatever it is. Like, if I was famous and I was accused of shoplifting, I would be on Shadeborough. But there's a duty of care, and these media companies don't have it. Why is it that they don't have it for, and I'm going to be very frank, why don't they have it for black people? Because there are numerous people who have done worse than Jason in academic circles, and they're not being held to task.
Well, there's 4 professors currently at Cambridge who have plagiarised verbatim and sexual harassment of their students, and have taken pages
from the students'
of stuff that does not belong to them. And they have been accused of plagiarism. They've been able to brush it off and keep their jobs. Out of the 2 people that were forced out of their jobs, those 2 people were black. But 4 others have committed the same crime and are still teaching in Oxford today.
Some were sat and then re-employed.
Brought back in different roles.
Yeah. So, I don't know how to answer this question, because I feel conflicted.
Right.
If you read my CV, it's very colourful. Like, the areas of spaces that I've worked in, extremely colourful. If you said to me, oh, you were a restaurant owner and you had X amount of people eating at your restaurant, show me the figures. What? I can't prove that. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, I wrote it down because it was roughly about right. To be held to task on that, to the point where you're being harassed, your partner's being harassed, your kids are being harassed, your family's being harassed. There was something which, I don't know what the platform was, but it said the hashtag, his surname, had been searched something like 100 and something thousand times since the story broke, where it hadn't been searched before that for a period. And I was just like, so if we really was to sit down and go through everyone's open and closed bracket CV and say, did you do all of the things that you said you did? Then a lot of people will be held up. Like if you hold a mirror up in front of them,
all of us would, because everybody embellishes their CV in a way that's near enough around the ballpark. You know, you might just use certain language, but everybody wants to put their best foot forward. So they'll shape up the CV to look a certain way. But at some point, you must know that you are going to maybe have to defend it, right? But this isn't the issue, because people keep talking about plagiarism, but up to now, I've yet to read the facts of what it is that he plagiarized.
Well,
because just I when I did my undergraduate degree, I plagiarized myself because I forgot to put inverted commas in front of a sentence. So if I don't put those inverted commas at the beginning of that sentence and the end of it to show that somebody else said it, I'm saying it as if I said it. So therefore, I plagiarized myself.
Right.
You know, so it can be as easy as that. But I've yet to see the thing that says in his paper he took it from X, Y, and Z, and
claiming that it was his own,
claiming that this person. I don't know what that evidence is. By the by, okay, that's an issue. But this isn't even about that. This is about all the things that he did in his private life.
Yeah.
What about the marathon? What about raising the money?
Yeah.
When did that become national newsworthy? Are we talking about
digging the well?
Are we just talking about a professor who may have taken somebody else's work and claimed it as his own? Lots of them have done that. We'll deal with that, but it's still not national news. The only reason it is because he's a black man.
Well, you say some of it's because it's clickbait, though. Like, I mean, I'm not justifying any of this. I'm just seeing it from the other side as well. And it's like, if it's clickbait, if it makes news, if it makes media, that's what's gravitating everybody else to click on it.
Why should it make media? Because he's a black man. Because the 4 professors that have already committed plagiarism at Cambridge University, they were not all over the national press, and if they were, they would have been on page 25 in a corner.
A tiny bit.
Right?
But
yes, but why does it make? You're still missing the thing that's there. The reason it makes news is because he was a black man.
And there's another point that I think you're looking straight past. Let's say it's all true. So what? And that's the problem. It's all true. He could speak before he was 11. He didn't run any marathons. He didn't raise any money, and he plagiarized. So what? Do you know whose problem that is? Cambridge. You know why? Because they gave a man a job.
And they
lied. And they didn't do their due diligence. So whose problem is that? Is it his or is it theirs? Now, granted, he shouldn't have done it. And if he did, he shouldn't have done it. Cool.
It's not worth losing your life over.
I'm okay. I'm okay. Thank you. I'm okay with that. The issue I have is with all of that, Cambridge turned around and said, wow, 36 years old, black guy, one of our guys, lead professor. Cool. Wait a minute. No. Wait. No. We're suspending him. Actually, he's going to lose his job. Actually, we're going to do an investigation. Actually, and all of this is public.
No,
now,
what
if you
happened
work anywhere else,
what's his face? I can't remember the guy, Nathan, whatever his name is. Right. So you've got this young black professor. My man's got sour grapes. And I've seen it happen in the civil service where I've worked. This guy looked at him and said, how did he get that position?
100%.
Let me just look into his little thesis and see. And he'd do a little digging. Oh, okay. And then he'd leak a story. And then it's like, okay, there'll be an investigation. And, okay, so what else? Let me dig a little further. And then he crossed the line. If he dug into it and found that there was something to be answered, he should have raised that with Cambridge, and that should have been dealt with. Boom, bang, that's the end of it. But his whole driving was like, how did he get in that position? What did he do? Let me see if he's up to scratch. So if that's your basis, you're going to be looking for any kind of dirt. And it shouldn't be your basis because he's black and you're not in that position and you want to know how he managed to get that. And you start digging.
So there's still a space in between that because you work for yourself. I work for myself. You guys have employers. If I pulled up your, especially Wiley CV, colourful as hell.
My CV is full and brilliant, mate.
You have to say that. It's recorded. But if I turn around and said, actually, he said he worked in blah 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 shop for X amount of years, he didn't do that. Or he said he left as a supervisor. The week before leaving, he got promoted and then left. So he doesn't have experience as a supervisor. So actually, whatever else the case is, if I raise that to your current employer, and anyone who's watching, if something gets brought to the attention of your current employer, do you know what they do? They'll do an investigation. And that investigation is, guess what? Private.
So
even if you're in a public space, the investigation is private. You get people, actors, actresses, this person, that person, and whoever, sexual harassment case, this person's been abusing their position in power, people that are CEOs of companies and whatever else. Oh, we need to work it out. And Bud and Rain, to be fair, the three of you may know, West Ham,
the owner. The lady left.
David Solomon.
He's now not allowed to go to home games.
Yeah,
for the football team that he owns. Wait, one second. No, but he's not allowed to go to home games. You're not allowed there anymore. Why? We're doing an investigation. Do you see his name being broadcasted via West Ham, via the media?
They weren't allowed to.
And whatever. They're not allowed to.
So however, I get your point.
But the point is, he was just saying, look, we use him as a poster boy. Wait, he's not. Wait, let's dash him away because if we get associated with him, do you know what I mean? Whereas as an institution, you have your protocol, and while he's sitting there probably bubbling, but you have your protocol if there's been any misjustice done. So there's a process you need to go through, follow that protocol. We're going to do our hearing, we're going to do our investigation, and we're going to come up with a response that we're then going to release and say,
it should have been private.
And that's private.
And it should have been conclusive because he got cleared.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
I understand that he actually got cleared.
He got cleared. He did.
So
he got cleared.
There was no wrongdoing. So that should have been the end of it.
It should have been. What? You know, for me, that Friday was really mad. So I went to the Ascot name revealing, the blue plaque revealing for Ascot, who was the first black guard on the railway. They did a name plaque revealing for him on Notting Hill. So I was there for that. So you can imagine, you're on a high, first black guard, first black person on the railway to get a position of prominence, then you get this news. And it's sort of... it was all the same day.
Same day.
Same day. Okay. So it sort of tied in. And what it showed me is that even though that was 60 years ago, nothing's changed in terms of how we are viewed. Someone could be an academic genius, and I don't care about all the things. They investigated it and found he was cleared. John Moore's University investigated it. He was cleared. Cambridge then launched a new investigation based off of all of this. But no one goes...
Based on a petition signed by other lecturers. So they were not satisfied that he was cleared. So they wanted it investigated even more.
But the backstory is the person who made the initial thing, Nathan Kofnas.
Is that racist? Sorry.
He's a his viewpoint is, and I'm going to get the terminology wrong, but his viewpoint is that white people are more superior than black people, more intelligent, more whatever. But that is his viewpoint.
He's on record. No, you say his viewpoint. He's on record saying it. He's on record saying it.
So you would think that with all of that being the backstory for it, that would have been taken into account. But more importantly for me, and this is where I think that the media has to be held to account. This guy was known to be suffering issues because of what was going on. His family reached out, listen, he's suffering. He was also, if I'm correct, he was autistic.
And his one of the lecturers who's a close friend of his, who I'm now following, I don't know how, but I'm now following, and he's been dropping these videos saying, listen, as the story was unfolding, he kept reaching out saying, come to dinner, come to lunch, let's go and do something. Let's just get away from the whole media face. And journalists that were contacting him, he contacted I don't know if it's the journalism board, please excuse my ignorance, but he contacted saying, listen, do what you're doing with what you've got, leave him alone.
Yeah.
This isn't a safe space right now.
That wasn't enough for them.
It's not good enough. And they kept pushing and pushing and pushing. And then, do you know when it's like, and I know it sounds mad, but it's one of those, where were you when you got the news? And I was just like, what is going on?
The thing is, I wasn't shocked. I wasn't shocked. Because the level of where it was going and how he was reaching out and what he was suffering and having to do all of that, my concern was, I can see this is going to be the end product.
Yeah.
It was very scary. You could see it in real time. We saw it with, what was the name of that woman? Caroline Flack.
Yeah.
We saw it in real time and you could see it was going down that road. And I think my question, I suppose I've got for us, we talked about it with Raheem Sterling when he was going through his stuff. And I said at the time, the black community needs to do more to protect our own people. Do we think that we protected him in that circumstance as much as we could have done, bearing in mind what was said about, I forget, was it Shea Borough or whoever it was talking about him? There was a pylon. It wasn't just them. But there was also friends of his who were also doing things, who were piling on.
Yeah.
But did we do enough to protect someone in that environment?
So what it is, I think that there's two things there. There was apathy from the black community. And I'll put my hand up. There was an element where when the story broke, I'm like, okay, I understand what's going on, but I don't know the detail. I'll come back to it. But the coming back to it was too late because that's when he had passed away. Now, there's that sector of people. And then there's the sector of people who are in that arena that know what's going on. And some of the big commentators who understand what's going on, even they are saying, I got onto the story late. And then there's some that were on very early, like Kaleshnikov, she was on it early. Dr. Shola Amos, she was on it early. And there's loads of others that were on it early. But did we do enough as a community? No. But the question would have been why?
But did we think it was actually, okay, you read the story, plagiarism.
Yeah.
Okay, so he was the youngest professor and they found out that he did plagiarism. Okay, he's going to lose his job.
Yeah,
we can be apathetic because we think that's just going to be the end of it.
Yeah.
Yes,
that
100%.
But when it continues, when he's resigned, so okay, he's resigned because he just doesn't want this to go on anymore.
That was me.
That should have been the end of it.
Yeah.
The community didn't know. I don't think somebody on the inside should have raised the alarm with the community and said, this has happened, this guy's happened and he's resigned, but they are still tormenting him before the 188 articles came out so that maybe we could have galvanized and as one voice said, stop, leave the guy alone. But it happened too late.
But you know what it is that I think people did raise the alarm bell. So Simon Woolley, I believe his name was, he gave a speech. So he brought up Diane Abbott onto the stage while he was doing a speech, and someone else, I can't remember his name, so I do apologise. And he did say that I think the speech was yesterday, and he said, this time last week, he called me and said they're hounding me like a dog. And at that moment, he was concerned. But he is I think he's somebody at Cambridge University. He's quite high in Cambridge University. Now, he may not have the network to filter down to, I don't know, an eMpTy podcast or, I don't know, some of the other commentators. I forget his name. The guy that does, you've got 24 hours.
Yeah.
Bouncer. So Bouncer's done a great job as far as I'm concerned, like holding people to account and whatnot. But those people are the people that some of us will be more in tune with. And I say more in tune with is in we are, that's the circle, that's on our algorithm. Those people come up. The other guy, it won't. And maybe there needs to be something better in regards to channeling information down.
So, sorry, bud, I'm going to go after you.
Yeah. I mean, what I was going to say just very briefly is, and it's just out there, obviously, to the public and everything, is I know how he was obviously passed away, and it's like all the stresses that was coming his way, he didn't have. Well, just out there to the public that's not the option to take.
Yeah.
But how do you come up under the weight of that? They are taking everything that you've worked for, rightly and wrongly. They have put this under the spotlight. They have systematically destroyed the legacy that you would have. I saw an interview where the man said, he'll never work in academia again. Yes. If that's been your life's ambition, your life's work, the whole of the nation and even abroad are saying you're a fraud. How do you lift your head above the parapet to walk out in the world again? And if it's constant, it's coming. You can't say, your loved ones can say, all right, it will be tomorrow's news. It will blow over. It didn't blow over, and it just got heavier and heavier. The man, how do you navigate that? How do you say, I'm just going to work in Tesco's then and just not...
No, because eventually, believe it or not, it does become yesterday's news. Eventually, I'm not as harsh on that news. There's certain things that we've covered on this podcast that now, if I mention it, like, remember that? What happened to that person? We don't know.
He didn't know when it was going to end. 188 articles in 9 days. The hundreds and thousands of vitriolic posts and tweets, and everybody's got... When does that day end when people forget?
Because people will forget, and that's as much as
wait?
I know, I understand that, but it's what I feel to myself is eventually it does, and it's so sad and it's so hard, and I'm not taking anything away from it, because I've never been put in that position, and none of us have in this room I hope have never been put in that type of position, but taking your life at the end of it, sometimes I understand that people feel that there's no hope, and that's what I wanted to put out there to everyone is there is hope. There's always a light at the end of that tunnel.
But it's about holding on. It's about holding on, and I think that he was asked to hold on for such an incredible, under immense pressure that he could not foresee that day. Yeah. And I had a tiny, tiny taste of that with the Daily Mail.
Oh.
And that shook me. That tiny little incident shook me to my core. When I tell you all the colour, when someone said, have you seen the papers? And all the colour just drained from my body, and I was scared, and I was like, I was scared to come out my house, because you just feel like everybody knows and everybody's going to say. So I said back then, bloody hell, that's just that. Imagine what them big time celebrities must feel when their life is out there. So much less this man having to navigate the weight of that and thinking that these people are never going to stop so that he can have a life.
Yeah. Not forgetting as well, sorry, just very quickly, not forgetting as well, he was not a celebrity. No. It's different if you're putting yourself in the limelight, in the front of the cameras to say, I'm a celebrity. I'm not saying it's not something that you expect or that you should have happen, but it's something that comes with the territory. This guy was an academic. He just happened to be brilliant at what he did. And don't forget, what he was doing was in terms of for our benefit, for our culture's benefit. So for that, it was crazy. It's crazy.
Oh, gone.
Citrus.
Unpopular opinion, and I apologise to whoever this offends.
Oh no!
I'll do it now.
I'm just gonna have to say it, because this is my belief system. Suicide is always going to be the last measure.
Last option.
It's the last option. So I don't know what this gentleman went through. We can only read back and speculate how dark that room was, how much pressure was outside the front door, the Daily Mail, the Telegraph, the Times, the Guardian, the Spectator, GB News, and everyone else. We can only speculate what that felt like. But I've got to be honest with you. I can't lie to my brothers, and I can't lie to you. You're an older sister. And you have children.
I have a son who went to Oxford.
No, sorry. Mm-hmm. He has children.
And he has children, yeah.
And no matter what else is going on, they could turn around and accuse me of the worst. And I'm sorry if it offends anyone. Do you know what I can't do? Is stop being a dad.
Yeah.
Because out of all of the roles that I've studied for, that's the one role that no matter what else is going on,
I still am.
I'm still that. You could sack me from everything else. You can't sack me from that.
Playing devil's advocate.
Sorry. Just let me just complete, please. And with that, don't get me wrong. I completely. I can't understand it, but I can empathize. And when I close my eyes, and do you know what I mean? The noise that must have been coming to that man in his last few days must have been the loudest noise ever. But you still have to kiss them on their forehead, make their dinner, tuck them in bed, run the bath, do all of those things. And now those kids are waking up and my daddy's not here no more. And as Buddy said, in the end of the year, he's not going to make the news. We're not going to talk about it. It's not going to exist anymore. So if he's working in Tesco's, excuse me, that's where he is now. But he's still a dad. He's still a husband.
Still a brother.
He's still a brother. He's still a son. Now, with that, I'm not going to turn around and it's not about a place of judgment. I just think to myself that we've all made commitments. You shared your commitment in the first hour of this podcast of what you did from, and I'm not going to say 21. 21 is when you got discovered, but I presume your story started when you were 7 with a towel on your head singing into the mirror. You made your commitment at that point. Do you get what I mean? So with that, I have to turn around and I have to be honest with myself. And it doesn't have to be the popular opinion, but I have to be honest with myself. When you then adopt different types of roles and one aspect of my life isn't going well, sometimes it has to crash and burn. Bud, tighty whities,
brother.
You see me tighty whities, belly popping out over the stained boxes. Let's just be real. Do you get what I mean? And it's not about judgment. All it's about is, I just hope that there is a system in place that if anyone else is forced or feel like they're being placed into this place where it every day just gets a little bit darker, I would hope that we had a system in place to turn around and say, do you know what? Like okay guys, you're going to have to help me out. They're not the Green Berets. They used to travel on the New York Underground with
Guardian Angels.
Guardian Angels.
What are they called? Guardian Angels.
Yeah.
And we would hope that we had a system in place where, do you know what? All right, cool. He's a problem, but he's our problem now. So before you get to him, you have to get through us. And having us as that force field, then protected him prior to making, as I said, the last decision.
Okay.
And I'm going to end at that point. Sorry, guys. Sorry.
There's a thing about mental illness and depression, which is very isolating and it's very individual. One would hope that if you're in a situation, you can say, all right, Bunda, let me focus my energy on my family. Yeah, that carry you through. And that's the ideal situation, that your family and your community bring you through. But when you're in a situation where it's all going on up here, and especially in the Black community where it's still taboo to say I'm struggling. I'm struggling. I'm not managing this well. And that starts to bleed into your sense of self. And then how do you hold up your head for your children who may also be exposed to what people are saying about you or doing? It will take such an inner strength to overcome, because the voices in the head are damaging to your self-esteem, to your self-worth, and they then begin to paralyze how you function as a human being in all other areas of your life. So it's easy to say, oh, your family should have been there, or you're still a dad. We know that. And the ideal situation would have been for that to then take over. But with any kind of mental disturbance or suffering, it is so in you, so personal, so in depth, that until we're able to say that out loud to one another, nobody can come to your rescue to a certain extent, because you're there busy trying to navigate it for yourself so that you can present to the outside world as being whole and in control, where inside you've got a massive turmoil an anxiety that you have to put somewhere, and we're not given the tools. We don't yet have all the tools to do that for ourselves. And that's why conversations like this are important. That's why on my podcast, I talk about, you know, and I say, like, when I'm not feeling great, I have a safe word. I just say to my friends or to my family, I'm not fit for human consumption. That's it. Because I know, and they know.
Oh, pineapples. It's fine.
Pineapples.
Yeah, it's not the day.
Yeah.
So until we have these safe words that we can use to our friends, it's a shame that he maybe he did, but if he could have reached out to the rest of the community and had that, this is what's happening to me, guys. But maybe that wasn't his way. But mental illness, mental disturbance, mental trauma is so like that.
It doesn't present itself openly.
It doesn't present itself openly, and you can't see beyond.
No,
it's very hard.
And I think one key thing we have to bear in mind: Diane Abbott and Lord Woolley both went to see him.
Yeah.
And the time they went to see him, he said, "They're hounding me to death, and I cannot see a way out." Also, he'd lost a hell of a lot of weight at that time. So it weren't like it was just someone who just made this was someone who was under it. And we got to have it. And I'll go back to the point. He never signed up for the level of attack he was getting in the media. And we're talking about, when we're saying 288 or whatever it was, 188 news reports, this is on the mainstream media. We're not even talking about social media.
Yeah.
We're not talking about the racism he was experiencing there. We're not talking about anything else he was getting sent to him. He was he couldn't cope. And I'm not saying it's the right thing to do, because we would all say, of course it's not the right thing to do. But he was at that ebb where he verbally said he cannot see a way out.
He needed a break. I think somebody, if I was in his corner, give him a plane ticket.
Yeah.
Say, get out of Dodge.
Yeah,
Just
straight.
get out of Dodge. Sit on
stay
the
with him.
beach somewhere
Yeah.
and refocus, reflect, and let them burn themselves out. I don't know why that wasn't an option, but that might have been an option.
I think the thing, just in closing, I think the thing that we have to also remember in regards to him is that his life's work was at stake.
Yes.
Now, if we think about us in this room, if our life's work was at stake, how would we be able to cope? And I mean, let's just say, and touch wood, it doesn't happen to anyone. I'm talking about your acting career. Let's just say, for our sakes, let's just say our kids. Those are taken away. All of our kids are taken away. That's our life's work.
Kids are a bit harsh.
No.
Some people view their life's work, whether it be academia or whatever it is, as their kid. Now, I'm not saying he cared for his work more than his kids, but remember, he just didn't do. He wasn't a professor. He gave speeches and talks about how to make the world better and how to develop self and all that kind of stuff. Your life's work is made to look like it was nothing, and that would be a tough pill to swallow for anyone. I personally think. I'll give you the last word, and then we're going to move on.
I mean, like I said, I hear that, and I'm not going to disregard it, because I do believe what you've said, all brilliant points. But I sit on the couch here saying, I agree with my boy Citrus, and I agree with what my point would be, is if to say, do you know what? Yeah, I agree with your life work, but you know what? You knock down, you start again. He's done it, I've done it. Like, there's loads of other people who have done it, where you knock down and say, you know what, that didn't work for me. It's a terrible thing that's happened. I'm upset about it. Like he said earlier on, tighty whities. He was there in it, and he said, you know what, we start again. He's improved, he's got to a better point. If something doesn't work for me now, and we've had it within our own current businesses at the moment, where it's like, well, you know what, knock down, we have to start again. We have to do it. It's life. And I'm not sitting there saying, oh, I'm better than anybody, or he's better than anybody, or anybody in this room's better than anybody. I just believe to myself, and this is what I want to put out to people, is just positivity. Yeah. Like, there is a light at the end of this tunnel. Forget those people that are sitting there putting you under that type of stress, because at the end of the day, like we said, by the end of the year, I don't even remember it anymore. I don't want to bring certain situations. The girl that ran over the other girl, I've forgotten about it. Gets that done what he did. I've not forgotten about it, but it's
no.
It's not in social media. It's not in the media like that.
We need a whole podcast to discuss it. But I don't agree with that. But
I'm saying to you, people move on from it.
People move on, but the individual
doesn't. And you say, yes, we've all had those dark days, but then you have to add the element is if it meant that every time you stepped out of your door, your neighbours, everybody was looking at you. sideways,
Laughing.
or everybody was commenting, or everybody was saying something. Oh, you're a fraud. And then you knew that it felt like the whole country knew your name and was saying you're a fraud.
No, I hear it.
That's slightly different, because we've all had bad days and people have got us, shaking us out of it and said, come on, you just do it. But neighbours are not known about it. Your family is not always known about what's going on in your life. But when you know that you're stepping out of your door and you feel that everybody knows who you are and what you've so-called done, and then you still have to be positive for the people around you, that takes a great amount of strength. And it is the last resort. It is the last resort. And we have to say to people, you must reach out. You must talk about it. You must not feel any shame to say, one, I'm not fit for human consumption today. I can't put on the mask. I can't do it. Or they're getting at me and it's hurting my psyche. I'm not thinking straight. We must be able to have that vocabulary to say to our nearest and dearest, and for them to get into action. Because when we was little and say, Mum, I'm depressed. What are you depressed for? What do you have to be depressed for? Because they're used to hard life, and it's a different time, and we have to be able to not make it taboo and be vulnerable, men especially, and men of colour, to say these things.
So just to back onto that, and I know we're moving on now. I got it. So and this is why the eMpTy podcast is so prevalent, so positive, and this is why we keep doing it, because we want to have the awkward conversations for those that may be in that dark space, may be in a difficult position and not know where to turn. We'll have the conversations and be popular or unpopular in having those conversations, but we're going to be honest with what we think, what we believe, and how we feel. So if you are in a position where you need help, please, please, please seek help. Contact us, contact friends, family. There are professionals out there, one telephone call away, where you can get help and support. And please do not listen to all of the noise. Rainman.
So a little more upbeat in regards to the Range Roundup. So 78 years marks people of colour being in the NHS. So 78 years is probably when the first black person went into the NHS. Obviously, we came in as nurses, midwives, cleaners, healthcare assistants, doing all the stuff that propped up the NHS. Now, there is...
Sorry, Rain, what year would that be? 78 years?
My maths is not great. I'm a verbalist. Maths is not my strong point.
Why they coming? You got to be quick on this, bro.
So it'll do it. So, and I mentioned this because so we've got he tries to be a politician. There's a man called Nigel Farage, and he's got a view of. Llewella's like, look at this.
I'm rubbing my forehead.
He's got a view that immigration, migration, whatever you want to call it, should be stopped. Now, if that was the case, and that was 78 years ago, the NHS now has a lot more racism, and we discussed this before. Should people of those other countries, whether it be black, Caribbean, African, Filipino, should we just say, forget it? You have your NHS and do your thing.
I would love, and I think I put it in one of my scripts, I would love there to be, it won't be a whole day because somebody's still going to want to make money, but let's say a 2 hour where everybody who is an immigrant or of immigrant extraction downed tools.
Right.
I would love for an hour where we all just stopped working, just for an hour. NHS, trains, anybody that's of colour or immigrant status to just stop working for 1 hour and see what would happen to this country.
It couldn't happen.
See what would happen to this country.
It couldn't happen. But
if that would be what would drive the message home, and just to tell everybody to be quiet, because without immigrants running doing the work underneath, they're propping up this country. So they need to be quiet.
You know what it is? It's like my dad would say the same thing. So he's from the school of Eric and Jessica Huntley, and his view is the protest thing, when you, and look, there's no disrespect to anyone that went down to protest at Trafalgar Square or marches, but that only gets you some way. Now, my dad's thing is, and you don't know his name, so no one can hold him to account. If you want to make a real protest, what you do is you take 2 vans, like what you 2 own, and block the Blackwall Tunnel. Nothing goes in, nothing goes out. London stops. That's your message. Obviously, you are going to get arrested. You might get jail time. But there is an element of what you're saying is everyone down tools. Now, we would come under flack for it because imagine when the doctors go on strike, they're chastised. Oh, what about this? What about that? Put in contingency. You can put the contingency.
What's for them to do?
But you have to, I think the protest methods of nowadays have to be a bit more extreme if you want people to take notice. And that, I personally would like that to happen. But would it?
But there's some scrupulous people down, man. Why they're not working? We can go and charge double price. And, so, we all have to stick together to do it. If they keep going on about immigration, let's just have an experiment. Just for 1 hour, everybody, just down to just 1 hour. We're not trying to hurt the country. We're not trying to destroy it. But just for 1 hour so that you can see our contribution. Trains wouldn't run. Hospitals wouldn't get cleaned. It would all collapse.
Yeah.
Right, repeat your question.
That was a very, very loaded question. So 78 years of the NHS. Nigel Farage has a thing, stop the boats and all of that kind of stuff. The NHS as it is now and other factions of the infrastructure of the UK are run by people who are not British nationals. Should those people stop, down tools and say, you do it yourself?
What's the thing with the immigrants and why does he not want them around?
To be fair, I don't really want to go down the road of why he doesn't want to have immigration. And you know, the funniest thing, this links back to the previous story, because the way that the country has gone, it is very, right. In my adult life, I've never felt an anti-blackness like I'm feeling now.
Really?
No. Because, you know, there's always been racism. Yep. There's always been racism, but it has never been such a blatant, I say never, in my lifetime.
Overtly.
In my lifetime, of an overt anti-blackness. because remember, we was born in an era where we were growing up where our parents, our siblings before us had gone through that. So we were accepted, so to speak. You had the John Barneses, you had the Florida Benjamins. We were accepted. I've never seen an era where black people have been so demonized like I'm seeing now.
I disagree with that.
So what the thing is, I can't think of another era that I've lived in.
It's more overt, and I think you've got Trump to thank for that.
Trump
because because Trump getting into power, he provided a voice to the disenfranchised white people who before were under the radar and kept quiet and bemoaned it. But he's a most powerful man in Britain. Yeah. And when he got into power and started to vocalise his prejudices and his racism, it gave them a voice. So it now became the norm. We can say that. Build the wall, send them back.
I agree with this.
And so through that then just started to travel because he's not an MP. He is the Prime Minister. He's making policies. He's the president. He's making policies. Look, the little referee couldn't even come into the country to work at the World Cup because of what he believes about people of colour. So therefore, he then gave it a legitimacy that then other countries started to say, okay, we feel the same. Italy went the same way. They've got a fascist government.
I don't like you now.
Vienna went the same. He legitimised it. So these people that felt they were so hard done by, and it was all people of colour's fault, now had a legal and legitimate voice and root. So then it comes to England now, and Farage who's Trump's friend, is just vocalising what's now being set out there. And they've come out from underneath the stones, and you can't get them back in. Yeah. Because the Republican Party were sensible people until Trump got in. Everybody had to do things in judicious order. Now you can say what you want, and that's still okay. And that's what's happened. So now people don't have to hide it. People don't have to hide what they feel, where before they would have to be more careful about what they're saying. And they don't have to do that now because the President of the United States can say it and Farage can say it. So it must be true. And all those people that were grumbling can now vocalize it and feel like they've got a right to vocalize it.
Can't lie, you just killed my whole... I got nothing now.
Try.
Yeah. I got nothing now. I can't.
Try, just a little bit. Try.
Have you got any points?
She killed me.
I do have a point, and what it is, it's you can give a voice to any disenfranchised group and be their microphone, if you get what I mean, because you have a platform that if you speak, everyone hears it. And this is what we're witnessing now. And black people, people of colour, people that are not who is what's the word I'm looking for? The typecast that the UK want to represent, you will feel this pain. It's not going to last. And the reason why it's not going to last is when you start pulling the foundation pegs away from
what's not going to last? Sorry to interrupt you. What's not going to last?
So this right-wing rhetoric that is now in the media's eyes, it's not going to last. And let me explain.
Right back now. I'm back.
Come on.
I'll tell you why it's not going to last. Because, like anything, if you give it fuel, it will burn. But guess what? You need to sustain that fuel. And to sustain the fuel, you're turning around and saying every brown and black person and who came from somewhere else, keep doing your job, but we don't like you. Eventually, those people will migrate away.
Migrate where?
Away. Look at the Polish community. They came here. There was a huge focus on them to say, we don't want you here no more. Do you know what? They left.
Oh, no, they didn't.
No, brother,
Listen. They left. I'm not saying they all left, but they left. If you look who went back to Lithuania, who went back to Poland, who went back to those types of Eastern European countries, and then you look at the industry that they were working in, construction, agriculture, all of a sudden now, if you want to go strawberry picking in the middle of XYZ, you're now getting paid $650 a week, where they were being paid £200 a week. But now they're not doing it. No one else is backfilling the gap. The English nationals are like, well, we don't go into the farms and pick that stuff. We don't do that. So guess what? We still need strawberries. So to encourage, if you follow the economics, we can say how we feel, but if you follow the landscape...
I follow the landscape and the economics.
And what it is now, these people that are picking fruits are getting paid more than what accountants are being paid. Fact check me.
So all I would say is this, is that the point you're making with regards to those from certain countries cannot work with black people here because black people are not from one country. So if you think about it, I'm a Nigerian background, you're a Caribbean background, so we're all different. The skin colour is the only thing that links us together. So effectively, if they was to say, you know what, go back home, we're not going back to the same homes. Our home now is here. So it's unlike where you're talking about first generation Caribbean people, Nigerian people, Ghanaian people, Polish people who have come here, who are going to go back home. We're born and raised here. So effectively, this now is our home. But if I'm saying that I'm going to go back my home is different to your home. So yes, we're facing the same thing because of our skin colour, but the actual detriment that they're giving to us is based on the skin colour. It's not based on where we're coming from to say, go back to the same place.
So to come back at you, if I turn around and said to you, everyone that's got darker skin than 0.1 white is now going to be charged 20% more tax.
The reason why this country couldn't do it that way, though, is because they would do it along the lines of everyone who is a European national, everyone who is from a or is from an EU country. That then means you got the Polish, you got the Lithuanians, you got the Germans, everyone. You can't do it on skin colour because there are laws against that, but you can do it based on the countries. This is what I'm saying. It's not as, for us as black people, it's a different level of xenophobia we're facing. Totally different.
Going back to you saying it's gonna die out. I don't know if I agree because the cat is out of the bag. The cat is out of the bag, and nobody has said the things, apart from Rivers of Blood and Enoch Powell, nobody has been in a position and said the things that Trump and Farage have said and given legitimacy to all those other right-wing groups and people. The cat's out of the bag, so they're going to feel entitled. They're not going to hold... Before, in the 80s, we had equal opportunities and positive discrimination. You know, that can't come back. That can't come back. The cat is out of the bag, and people are saying what they really feel now. And in terms of strawberry pickers and Polish people or any of the people from the Baltics, they probably went back to their country richer than when they arrived.
Exactly.
So they did what most of the black people intended to do when we came here. We didn't intend to stay. We only came to get a little money, go back home and bill up. But we got trapped in the system, and we realised that the racism and everything just slowed down the progress. So now that we've got second and third generation children here, they still have the English mentality. And you're right. They say, oh, go back home. And we think, well, that's South London. Now, before that, well, that could still be South London. And then all your grandparents, well, that would be the Caribbean and that would be Nigeria. And that. So it's a nonsense argument, but the voices that will still keep calling for that are out. And I don't think they will shut up now because they've never had the freedom to say the racist nonsense that they've been able to say. They would have been prosecuted, or you dare not say that in public. So I don't agree that it's going to die down. Maybe it will when Trump's out and somebody sensible comes back in, but then we'll still have Farage to deal with.
Yep.
But the thing is, Trump has set a precedence to say you can do it. You can say that. You can put in laws. You can shoot people and kill people rather than deport them. So they've got a template to say, well, we'll have the same kind of rhetoric. I don't think it will die down until there's a mass,
I believe it will die down.
I think it's impossible for it to die down, but I'm going to move on. I'm going to move on. And I've been told this is my last one, and I did have more. They told me to have loads, I had loads.
Oh, really?
And then I've got
Time constraints.
This is the typical rain. Typical rain being upset about it.
Milk it for all it's worth.
So there have been numerous carnivals around the UK. The one which springs to mind was Leicester Carnival.
Leicester.
Now, Leicester Carnival it's been going for years. But this year in particular, it was chastised for its lack of diversity.
Yeah.
So why do you say before I carry on?
Diversity.
She doesn't know about it.
Well, what I don't know about it, and why does it need to be diverse?
Diverse.
Did you see the social media post?
No. Sorry.
Because Carnival in the black community predominantly was a celebration of black culture. So what does making it diverse mean?
You're killing your whole argument.
I'm asking the question.
No. You're thinking.
I can resurrect. Don't worry.
And what it is, there is a view that it's not the heart of where Carnival started. So therefore, these people are paying homage to an extent by doing the help me out. What is
costume?
Yeah.
Still pan.
So
music
and
food.
So what it is, the issue is that it wasn't as busy as Notting Hill. Now the question is, again,
it was never going to be as busy as Notting Hill.
It can't be. But the question is, should the people of say Leicester, Nottingham, listen to the critiques that are coming from people about the carnivals that are up there?
What do they want from them that I still don't understand?
They're just complaining. I think they're just complaining.
That it wasn't Caribbean enough?
You left a big gap, bro.
Yeah. So what I was going to say is, I mean, what you're leaving, the gap that you're leaving is basically, so there was a lot of
white people,
Caucasian people that was basically doing these things. So you would kind of
doing the carnival,
in costume, dancing.
Okay.
So you didn't. There was like one or two black people that you saw in the thing. So you're like, well, where is the culture? Where is the carnival? Where is the people that understand and know about carnival? Where is the people of these countries that do the carnival? they wasn't in the pictures or the videos that I saw. So when you look at it, you kind of thought, okay, I don't understand. Do you know what I mean? And I now don't understand, what was you serving as food? Was it beans on toast? Was it jerk chicken and hardo bread? I don't understand what you're dealing with right here.
That's ignorance.
No, but I'm saying from the visuals,
but that's your issue, isn't it? If you don't venture there, that's the same thing like saying a Bristol Carnival. Bristol Carnival happens in St. Paul's, and
it didn't happen properly this year.
I'm not sure if it hasn't happened. It didn't happen through COVID, but anyway, that's not the point. When you see the images of the people doing whatever, it's the same as Leicester. I've been to Bristol Carnival, and it is there are black people down there. There is jerk chicken being served there. Now, I'm struggling with the point you're making, saying, "Oh, what was they serving beans on toast?" Like,
no, I'm just saying the visuals.
So what it is? So what's been displayed on social media? The reason why it's on your algorithm is because the issue that's arisen is that you're showing a carnival and you're showing white people dancing to black music.
Right.
There's no black people dancing to black music, celebrating carnival. So it's our culture. There's no black people there
celebrating our culture.
Now it doesn't make sense and reflect carnival. Where people are saying, if you follow the carnival story, it's doing exactly what carnival is meant to do. You're meant to take the culture, spread it around, and allow others to adopt and be involved within the culture. But seeing this visual of an all-white carnival band dancing to a dancehall song or a soca song or a calypso song or whatever else, not seeing that is like, well, this ain't really carnival. This is down black people turning around and saying your thing isn't authentic because you don't have enough black people representing the culture. So therefore, it's incorrect. Where I'm turning around and saying, do you know the years and years and years
we've wanted them to?
We've wanted other communities to turn around and embrace carnival. Now we're seeing it in live on our social media feeds. We're now going to complain about it. Well, actually, if you really wanted to change Leicester Carnival, take yourself up, go down to Leicester and join in. So this is the reason why it's become a media story. No disrespect, I don't even want to talk on it because I feel it's so disrespectful. Because just to give you a small island view, right? Soca is from Trinidad. Very, very simple. My family from St. Lucia.
Aye.
All right.
So smudgy, you know.
No. Bluetooth. Fine. She been drinking, brother. I can't trust it. But the crazy thing is, at certain carnivals, you wouldn't hear Zouk. My family live. If you know Patsy. You know Patsy-ish.
He doesn't like it that much.
Crazy. He don't like it. It's fine. But my mum.
I'll be your favourite son.
That's me.
Challenging. To be fair, it's open for anyone. But what it is that there were times at carnival you would never hear Zouk. You wouldn't hear it. And then if you heard it, you now have 65,000 Lucians, Vincentians, Dominicans, those I don't know what Martinicans, I don't know what the time is. But they would all be behind this one Zouk band because you didn't hear Zouk. So now you're hearing Zouk, you're like, wow, we're all going to gravitate to this because this is our portion of the soca, the carnival, the whole experience.
Sorry, what's the point?
So I'll explain it. So now...
Quickly though, in 30 seconds. Yeah, please.
But so now, what it is, when you're introducing new cultures to the carnival, you have to be willing to welcome them in. If it's meant to only be soca, and now you're introducing these other influences from the Caribbean, you have to be open to welcoming them in. Now, if that's a white person or an Asian person or a black person, it shouldn't matter because we are introducing cultures into our carnival.
All right.
But there's a difference between introducing and taking over. And we as a people have a propensity to give away our heritage and our music and our fashion. We give away either because it's for monetary gain or because somehow it's a compromise. But then there's also the fact that, okay, so other races have got involved in carnival. What's wrong with the people themselves? Why didn't they get involved? Why did they allow it to be solely one thing? We have to take responsibility for certain things. You can't just say, "Oh, the white people, they were in Carnival." You know, where was the black involvement?
So what it comes down to,
Where's the black
for me,
involvement?
final point, what it comes down to is, if we're going to complain about it, let myself,
do something about
yourself, pick ourselves up and go and enjoy Leicester Carnival and there's a carnival minimum once every month in the UK.
Yeah.
If we're not following that and supporting it, then whoever is doing it.
Yeah, but what happened to the people of Leicester? The people of colour of Leicester, they should have been involved.
And this was the point that I wanted to try and close the point on, was that when they founded it in 1985,
right,
it was founded following racial tensions in Leicester and elsewhere. Its original purpose was explicitly about togetherness, integration, artistic expression, and cultural understanding. And one of the other things that came up was they said that with the Leicester Carnival, I think it was in the early to mid-90s, only 60% of the people that was going at that point were from a Caribbean heritage. So it is about intermission communities.
Mm. And that's the final word on that. So we're going to take a break.
Jerkers will be at Leicester Carnival.
This segment is called Empty the Clip. It is 90 seconds of quick fire questions. No pausing, no hesitation, no stuttering, no stammering. Are you ready?
Yes.
Please confirm your name.
Llewella Gideon.
Do we have 90 seconds on the clock?
Yep.
Your time starts now. St. Lucia or Dominica?
St. Lucia.
Comedy or drama?
Drama.
Plantain or dumpling?
Dumpling.
Love or independence?
Love.
The Real McCoy or Absolutely Fabulous?
Real McCoy.
Peckham or Brixton?
Peckham.
Writing or acting?
Both.
Writing or acting?
Acting.
Rice and peas or macaroni pie?
Rice and peas.
Mum's cooking or dad's cooking?
Dad's cooking.
Theatre or television?
Television.
Forgive or cut them off?
Oh, forgive.
Queenie or Mr. Loverman?
Queenie.
London or the Caribbean?
Caribbean.
Money or creative freedom?
Money.
Rum punch or Guinness punch?
Guinness punch.
Be loved or be understood?
Be understood.
Scripted comedy or improvisation?
Improvisation.
Family or career?
Family.
Tell the truth or protect feelings?
Protect feelings by telling the truth.
Reggae or soca?
Reggae.
Regret or rejection?
I don't understand.
Regret or rejection?
Regret.
Flying fish or saltfish?
Flying fish.
Peace or passion?
Peace.
Sunday dinner or Saturday night?
Sunday dinner.
Actor or writer?
Writer.
Be rich or be famous?
Rich.
East London or South London?
South.
East London or East London or
South.
East London?
What?
All right. Privacy or success?
Privacy.
Okay, you have one more question. Is that right, buddy? Wiley?
Yep.
All right, your final question is... Let me find a good one. Okay, here it is. Comedy that offends or comedy that doesn't disappoint?
Comedy that doesn't disappoint.
This has been your Empty the Clip. Can we get a round of applause, please? But before we turn the lights on,
Oh, Lord.
yesterday Rain said, you know what? We need to have a dark question.
Okay, go for it.
So we need to know, do you want the darker questions?
Yeah, man, go for it.
All right. Gents, are you ready?
How long we got?
We have 30 seconds.
30 seconds, yeah.
Okay, run.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. Forgive someone who has never apologized or cut them off.
Cut them off.
Know your partner cheated or never know.
No, your partner cheated.
Lose your career or lose your friends.
Lose my friends.
Be remembered for your biggest mistake or be remembered for your greatest achievement.
Be remembered for my greatest achievement.
Tell the truth that destroys your family or keep a lie that keeps them together.
Oh. Can I have a repeat that again?
Tell the truth that destroys your family or keep a lie that keeps them together.
Keep them together.
Being successful and lonely or unsuccessful, and surrounded by people that love you?
I'm successful and lonely as it is.
This is the last question. Get revenge and lose your peace, or forgive and never get justice?
Forgive and never get justice.
This has been your dark version of Empty the Clip.
So, the final segment of the podcast is our Mount Rushmores, and this is where we have 4 choices. Only 4, no extras, no nothing.
Okay.
So, because we've got British comedy royalty on here, we have to ask the question. You can shake your head as much as you want. Your 4 black British comedy legends. 4. Only 4.
Can I have a caveat though? It's very difficult. We've only just started. We don't really have that many legends.
You don't say enough of the certain ones that I think you can say, but
comedy legends, British, black. It depends on personal taste and what you consider being a legend.
1 second, you got 1 hammer, 1 chisel, 1 mountain.
4 names.
British. We're only just getting started. Well, we'd have to put Lenny Henry because he was the first kind of out there.
We respect that.
Comedy actors. Norman Beaton, because he wasn't a stand-up, but he was fantastic at comedy. Comedy. It's hard. Comedy. To date, I like Mo Gilligan's stand-up.
Wow.
His stand-up was quite good. Am I missing somebody that's very obvious? It's very hard.
This is your mount.
It's your mount.
I want to put a female, but
you don't like them. It's fine. It's fine.
Them not as good as me. No, oh no.
It was hard.
It's hard. It's really hard. Not because the people aren't worthy, but I still think we're early on in our journey to building legacies and
as early as we are, you got 1 more to choose.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Nice. People are going to be hating on me now.
No one you worked with.
Comedy.
I worked with you, I'd be fuming.
But you're saying black comedy.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Curtis Walker.
Okay. So I thought I'd make it even
Can we get
more...
1 each?
No.
I thought we'd make it
Can I just hear what you would have put? One person in.
He can say one.
I
have to say Kojo.
All right, cool.
Kojo.
Cool. That's it.
Okay. Next one. Mount Rushmore of black British TV shows.
Oh, this is a good one. I'm interested in this one.
Real McCoy.
1.
Desmond's.
2.
Queenie. Shows. So I'm having to think because there's so far and few between. Am I missing somebody very obvious?
I think you said the 2 most obvious.
Desmond's, Real McCoy, Queenie, British that I really loved. British. I could say a name just for saying a name. You have to throw me off the cliff because I can't.
You said 3, that's it.
Said 3 and that's it.
Not because there aren't. I mean, but you have to earn that spot, and I still
respect that.
We have to earn that spot, and I still think we're in development.
Okay, I respect
on that journey.
Yep. Wiley. We got 1 more, so I'll throw a little jovial one in there. Mount Rushmore of Caribbean accents.
What that I can do, or ones that I can do, or just
whichever
generally?
you want to do, whatever you want to frame it as.
What are your favourite for it? What are your favourite 4?
Well, I'm best known for the Bajan, so I put Barbados up
they
there.
Sing.
Right, so that would be there. St. Lucian.
What's that one?
It depends on who you're talking to. If you want to be very specific, and say you're from St. Lucia, then you will speak like that. Am I right?
Very, very right.
So that is it.
That's two.
Trini is really hard, but I did do a Trini accent.
I'm glad you said accent. All right.
Trini and that's it, innit? Oh, and Jamaican.
Come on, if you didn't say that, you was about to
honorary, I was saying to people I was an honorary Jamaican, and the first time I learned to do a Jamaican accent was on the Real McCoy.
Right, okay.
So now I got that down.
So I know that we could have gone on for so much longer.
I know.
So much longer, but there is a final question.
There's two.
There's two, sorry.
Yeah.
There's two. So I'm going to throw the ball over to Rain.
Oh, no, they're both your questions.
Okay.
Okay, so my first question is, if you were to look into the camera directly across, and I was to ask you to invite 3 people on your to the eMpTy podcast on your recommendation, what 3 would you invite, and can you invite them right now?
Joe Martin, you did mine. You got to come and do this. You love the mandem. You know you love the mandem. So I would definitely invite Joe Martin because she's great. I would invite Candice Carty-Williams, the writer of Queenie.
Well, okay, yeah.
I would invite her. She's intelligent and beautiful. And who else would I invite? And Curtis. Is that right? Curtis Walker.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'd have enough to say. And he'd be jokes.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So my last question is, could you please also share what your experience of today's podcast has been like?
Being on the...
And the term is, it's empty.
Can I interrupt?
It's empty.
Okay, you've missed the 60 years.
Oh, the 60 years question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I keep everybody in order.
Okay.
Right, so this year is 60 years of Notting Hill Carnival.
Mm-hmm.
And in those 60 years, so many things has happened. What is your interpretation of Carnival today based on the last 60 years? And the second question is, what do you see in the future?
For Carnival or just...
Yes, please, for Carnival.
I think Carnival's really diversified so much so that it is hard to find a sound system that's playing soca. That's changed because it's all like salsa and all kinds of other parts of what is London life, which is cool. But I've seen that change a lot, and I think it's only going to get... going forward, more young people, more young musicians, more young expression of what it means to be black or young in this country, and celebrating that through music and art and design.
And where do you see the future? What do you see in the future?
Of Carnival, that.
Oh, and that's what you see.
That's what I see in the future. I just see more young people, more DJs. It coming away from its original roots, but being more taken over by the next generation of black and ethnic minority young people, Londoners, migrants.
Okay, we like. Remember, the term is it's empty.
If it's empty.
No, it's empty. Okay.
And then say what?
So we're going to ask the gents to summarise.
No, listen.
I've got no summary. Sorry, I've got no summary.
I'll be honest with you. I'm just gassed because this was, certain times, like we said at the start of the podcast about having legends on the podcast, and we use the term really loosely. But this is someone who we can all say we grew up watching. We grew up, and it's, the mad thing about it is we grew up watching Llewella on the TV. And she grew up on the TV in front of us. And that, when you hear the story of everything and hearing how everything has gone, you actually get to realise, I know what I was doing at 21. I weren't on no TV.
Close.
I weren't doing no groundbreaking TV programme, breaking through the ceiling and dragging everyone else with me. I weren't doing none of that. I was working in Debenhams on a part-time thing. So for someone to be at that age, to have broken through the ceiling, to have taken everything with it, and then to have made the career you've made, we're extremely proud. I think proud is the word I would use, and thankful, because for people like you, it's made people like us be able to be where we are today. So thank you very much for coming. Very, very appreciative.
I've enjoyed it. Thank you very much for having me.
I don't have a summary. It's just, so I told my parents. So I said, they know I do the podcast. I said, we've got a guest called Llewella coming on. So my dad goes, there was an actress called Llewella Gideon, and she was on the Real McCoy. I said, yeah, that's who. He's like, so he goes, you lie. And then my mum shouts out, make sure your beard and put on a shirt. So
that's why you're wearing a freaking nice shirt.
He did. Nice shirt. And it's nice. No pieces.
Out of respect, you know what I mean? In the presence of greatness. And I know you're going to be like, oh no, please don't say it. And it might be embarrassing. But everything that Wiley said and everything that these two gents are going to say as well. So thank you for coming down.
Thank you. And the best is yet to come.
Good.
Amen.
Best is yet to come.
I actually love the fact that you came down here. There was a segment in here, and I hope we're going to clip it up. We will clip it up. That you shut me up. And it was great because I wanted to say something, and then afterwards you said all the stuff that was going to rebuttal anything that I said, and it was like, I got nothing. I've literally got nothing. So that showed me some of your... Do you know what? I don't want to go into the greatness of the stuff that you did as us for kids, and I'm a little bit younger than these lot, and I did see you on TV, and I watched it, and all the skits you were talking about, Real McCoy, amazing. And I still will, after this comes off, I will be sitting there challenging you of why don't you not do something? Put it out there on YouTube. It will gravitate. It will make amazing views.
I'd like to do it again. But I'd like to do it with the next generation.
But it's to bring them.
But the thing is that what Real McCoy was alchemy. It came in at the right time. Yes. With the right type of people. Our viewpoint on Britain and Black experience it can't be replicated. It was just like a gold dust thing. So if it were to be done again, I mean, we're all older now. We'd have to mix it up with some of the young people then to keep that edge, but they would still need original members to give it that flavour, because it has a flavour that you can't describe and you can't replicate.
I will challenge you and put it out there, because this will go out there. I will challenge you to do that. There's the Kojos, there's the Funbies.
I'll do it. Give me the money. I'll produce it. I'll do it. I've got no problem.
If you say to me together, I want executive rights to this thing, you know.
I will do it.
We will back it as the MT podcast. I will back it.
Did you notice he went from I to we?
Yeah. I don't have that much money.
We love this.
Citrus.
I would do it, but it takes special kind of writing and takes special kinds of performers, and you would need a couple of originals in there to make sure that, because I think Real McCoy is like a trademark. It's not a program; it's a trademark.
Robbie G will do it.
So if you pay him enough, he'll only do it if the price is right. So I think there's a place for it, but it's not something that anybody can do.
Yeah.
But thank you for coming on the show. And I really appreciate you for coming on there.
It's been fun. I've enjoyed it.
Citrus.
And just to summarise, it's to reiterate what the boys have said, one of the things that we aim to do on the podcast is to give flowers while you're still here.
Amen.
No disrespect. We're not asking you to walk off and keel over, but we don't do this enough. And if we have a platform that we can do that, we would like to say thank you and hand you your flowers today, where you can say thank you.
Thank you. I received them, but like I say, people talk about legends, and the legacy is what you leave behind. I'm pleased with the legacy I'm building to leave behind, but it's not over yet. I haven't broken through the ceiling yet. I haven't done my best work yet. I'm very humbled when people come and tell me that they got into comedy or stand-up because they saw me doing it. I find that just blows my mind, and that I was part of something that gave people joy, and that people see me and they start smiling. I think that's just a godsend. That's just literally a blessing from God that I can't describe or even begin to absorb, because it's just a literal blessing from God.
Amen.
Thank you very much.
So the eMpTy podcast welcomes you, and remember, if the glass isn't half full,
it's empty.
Yeah.